Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to more BTS Series Europe action here. We're getting ready to hop into our second series of the day. We have three two-game series for you, and this is just the second one. Empire back at it again. This time we're going to be going against the Vega Squadron. I'm Coddle Guy. I'm going to be joined once again by the one and only Blaze Casting, who is also, I think, kind of head admin for this tournament, helped organize this thing, put it all together. These teams, all fresh. Their new awesome spicy rosters in this new Dota season. They're looking to start already getting into the grind. We have Pro Dota happening, we got some other Asus leagues happening, we got our BTS series happening here. Things are firing underway, Blaze. Excited. I'm excited about Dota.
Excited about Dota and excited about this matchup. This is one of historical matchups. These teams go way back organizationally and as individual players, and they just have such history. There's a great narrative between these guys. So it's so much fun to see them butt heads once again. It might actually be one of the better matchups of our tournament in terms of equalization of skill as well. I think both these teams have about equal potential to upset one another as well as all of the opposition. But just going back a little bit to where these teams have had so many different times where they've been back and forth. Yeah. And their skill. I mean, the last series in WCA, it was Vega with the new FG captaining. But before that, the matchup before that, Empire were able to take them. It's just been 2-0 back. But really, this matchup and these two teams culminated for me around the qualifiers for the Manila Major. It was actually the lower bracket playoffs for that, where Empire were able to not only upset it and knock out Vega from potential contention for Empire went on to actually qualify for the event, but it was through an 80-minute long scuffle where that is Andre here on Slark. It's just all these things. It was from 30 minutes and a 2 times kill, 14 to 28 or something, to a 80-minute game where Empire were able to pull it through. And I feel there's not just ups, there's justice done when Vega are able to beat an Empire. But I mean, like I said, it's been very back and forth. It's hard. I would say that these teams are on fairly even playing field, but I'm really excited to see what FNG brings in terms of cap, because their drafts have definitely changed up over the past weeks, months, and I want to see what they bring to the ATS series.
As mentioned, I mean, these are big names in the Europe scene. They both hit strong strides in their Dota careers. You see, both of them at least take down. They've been champions at one point. I mean, Vega on their biggest strides was winning ESL New York, getting past some of the best teams out there at the time, including Sacred stuff. And the Mag, Broodmother, it was an absolute tear. And with this roster, kind of trying to hit that same stride. I could easily say the same thing for Empire. We have 4 teammates going against each other, G versus FNG. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm really excited about it. As mentioned, FNG, ever since Virtus Pro at the time was done with this, we're starting fresh. We're curious to see with him and his new haircut. Remember, he got a haircut. How's that going to affect his Dota game too?
It's tough. It's hard to read. Those things are one of the more difficult ones. We see Sumail at least got third place with his, so
it matters.
It does affect your game.
I rotate your head, the less weights there. This is science, people. Get into the actual draft here for Game 1 of Empire versus because Empire opened up. They grab up the Void and the Elder Titan here. It was Vega who did have the first pick, and with that first pick, they go right into the Wisp and then followed up with a Smart R. Class Vega to for the Wisp right away. But if I'm mistaken here, they don't have their old trusty Wisp player. It used to be Solo, right? With their heavy Wisp player, so things are a bit different now.
Yeah, things are a bit different indeed. It's still a really great pick in not only CIS region, but globally in Dota 2. But I'm looking back at all the WC, and FNG hasn't drafted it for Vega, so we don't really get to know exactly who's going to be picking it up. I would assume Sioma is, but we'll have to see. Right now, the ET is civil
Dire team pick.
from Team Empire, different from what we saw last game with, or last time we SK. Maybe because SK is banned out, I'm not sure. But the main thing here is they're going to be looking for a big counter initiation, and they're going to look like a late game. I mean, these are they can still do well in lanes. Time Walk and the Bash is really good for Void in the off lane. ET roaming around with the ganks can really levy a match in favor of G. I still think that in the end, these heroes can go as late as they want to, and the only real question then is going to be about mobility. Sure, you have Blink to walk on, but in the end, the IO relocate is global, and they're going to be able to make the most of it, I think. So, have a lot of potential in this. I think they're going to go for a lot of physical damage input with the starter and maybe the Drow. We've seen Drow with from Team Wings.
Yeah.
And it already could be a little bit by out here. It can be specifically, obviously, things like Grave and Shadow Wave to keep themselves alive. I really do think that there's going to be button exchanges in the mid game, and it is going to be just essentially whether or not Dazzle's in position to save an ally. Same with the ET and the Void. They're going to be on the defensive, and they're going to try to keep this be active.
Team pick.
This is going to be pretty exciting. I love the steps that both teams are making in their second phase, picking up these scrappy little support, kind of help their own game. Dazzle will help sustain and fill in all that armor. We'll be losing out from the benefit of that Slardar, of course, on Vega's side. Disruptor, I mean, you could almost maybe get up to a bit of a lock pick, but nonetheless, still very nice set for them. Then, yeah, now with Airblade coming out here, Empire kind of really putting the game plan out on the table. But Vega has the 2 long blades. They grab the Magnus right away, hoping to get the benefit even further from this Empower. You can already begin to go through the list of potentially what's going to be following the Magnus blades. Is it like the Jugs? Is it like the Slarks? Something around that nature, I'd imagine.
Jugs, Sven, and Ember Spirit were the thing that came to my mind. Just the Sven and the Ember, because they're not affected by natural order. Either through Warcry or just through the fact that they don't want to worry about armor on Ember Spirit. It doesn't matter. It's his survivability necessarily. The Juggernaut's still an option, but they're going to be the ones that at themselves. But again, you're worried about natural order. You're worried about getting caught in Chronosphere. He still lays into you pretty hard in those situations. So I think it's still all right, but I'm not won't fully convinced one way or another. But I think the Magnus was a good snap grab. But the fact that you see the Terrorblade, you need to do those illusions. You need a quick and easy way to do it. But when that came out, most likely going to be seeing a situation because it's played out. What do you bring to bear against a Magnus? Apparently, it's Legion frickin' Commander. I haven't seen G play this hero.
Yeah.
He's shined on so many, but
yeah.
Where are you going? Not telling Joe?
That it seems like wherever G is on whatever team, they love seeing his pick for the very. Want to make sure that G's comfortable, even who he's going to be going up against, or at least, having something prepared for it. And you said, man, when I think of G mid heroes, Legion Commander is not near the top of that list, but we're in a new day of Dota, a new season of Dota, and he's going to give Legion Commander a spin here, and we're going to see how the matchup is going to be working out for him, potentially in what could be a dual matchup with, who is that? That is not Nitrogen. I imagine that's not his name. That is, by deduction, FN...
Oh, no, that's FNG.
That is FNG.
Yeah.
Just got that.
He's sponsored by Nitrogen, apparently.
Ah, must be a fun European / Russian energy team.
I don't know.
Nonetheless, he was sporting the Wisp. He actually played a Wisp a fair bit in their run against Virtus Pro. This isn't something new to him.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. It's been a while since the Wisp game.
And it's going to be pretty interesting. But I will note already, Empire kind of took a leaf out of Broodmother's book. I'm not sure if they were before, but they definitely did it now. Having going for the smoke play at level 1 to get these good wards out. I mean, look how great Dire Ward is at the top lane. Like, you're going to be able to see so much of what they're trying to accomplish on both sides of the map here, whether it's towards the mid lane, whether it's just overextension on the off lane. It's something that can be really exploited with some good vision. So I really do like the smoke double TP, a perfect vision out. That's not going to be sentryed in this case. Whereas last game, I think 4 observers were sentryed in the first 7 minutes of the game. Now we got some that should stick pretty well. But in the meantime, we do have a quick disconnect for G himself, and I really look at this to see what these two are capable of. Because obviously, as a melee hero, you always have to be worried a little bit about the skewer back.
Yeah.
With a Wisp roaming, he can walk past you, the Tesla will take effect, and then he can skewer back, and that obviously is going to set you up to take a lot of damage. But in the end, I still think that G is going to be a good spot to just plant his feet and fight it out. He's obviously a hero geared towards getting auto attacks with moment of courage.
Yeah, even just like based on the play matchup in the mid lane, it's, let alone getting the intrigue in the matchup. We know G, who's been a long time Dota mid lane all-star. This guy's been around the block since Dota. And Iceberg is kind of one of those newer, up-and-coming, shining stars. Yeah, he was on Spirit for a while, really making a popular for himself, but still hasn't really hit, you know, that huge spot shine, you know, making it huge majors, being up on the main stage, seeing the limelight that we see for many of your crits into kills and such. So he's still looking to kind of make a name, huge name for himself, I'd say. Magnus is a big here to have a big like too. So MVPs this game.
Absolutely. I just think that he has the potential to really be in contention. One of those good players going up against players like Dendi and G. He's got a lot of practice in it. But yeah, I'm curious how he'll actually perform under Predator. Top lane is actually going to be pretty bad for Mag. Like usually he wants to at least get Tranquil Boots before he gets zoned back. And in this position, like we're seeing that Metamorphosis is coming out. We're going to be seeing this early movement from the ET on the top lane. Is not messing around with bot, and it is going to make it very, very difficult for the starter to get farmed.
It's Mag though. Mag's been in this off lane since Dota has started. It feels like so. He's been around the block to know in and out. He goes against these heavy assaulting lanes. He should be able to know his boundary. Can't get in the off lane here. Doesn't obviously have any sort of Iron Talon to fall back on in the meantime, so he's just going to take this one on the chin and get what he can out of the lane. So for now, we'll have a sec, as it looks like they will need a little pause time here for the side of Vega, but they're going to be back and already on way. Top of the CSO belongs to this Terrorblade, and as long as he has all the help nearby, that's not going to be changing too much yet.
Yeah, and I do feel like in this position that all Vega really want to accomplish with this landing phase is just the blink out for the offlane in there, and mostly just get a really good time Battle Fury for the AM, because he is going to have to kind of take advantage of the combo of Battle Fury and Empower to really deal with this Terrorblade when it comes down to it. He's going to have to be farm quick, because he's also going to have to match up this Legion Commander in terms of surviving through the duration of a duel. So he needs a relatively quick Lodge or Vanguard after the Battle Fury that he can essentially farm in a great position, not just to be completely caught out by turn or duel.
They get both runes covered at the 2-minute mark. Hoping to have maybe a little bit of scapegoat there on the side to be able to bounce back with maybe bounty forgiveness or something, but I'll have to take this back to lane and deal with that now. And bottom lane, back here. Goes in a bit of trouble. Talks up. They'll find a bit of a side road out of here, but they're looking to cut him off from all fronts. FNG goes to the low road. He continues to run on back out. Thunderstrike, they need a bit more here. And he's just going to be able to down up. It looks like that damage. It will from FNG. But Heather has a little bit of move speed here, and it's just going to be a long, windy up and around and back to the bottom.
Yeah, and all he has to do is knock down DP scroll and walk away. Maybe even suicided. His health pool, the rest been put out on, doesn't really. He led this board on a wild goose chase. They got enough for it. Maybe where FNG got the leash over to the Destroyer, they could put in a few more hits. I think the Void still survives with like 58 feet. End of it was just that, a wild goose chase, and it's gonna be him now going to the jungle with Sharper and need to start ding around.
Yeah, and they're the best. I mean, I don't know, Structure's not the very good thing, kind of a bounty guard lane and watching things over and passing off a bit.
Kill mid, I think. It's gonna skewer back.
I'm thinking about it here. Ice kind of left G with half his life. Touch to fear, G. Swinging him on the skewer back.
Yeah, and even more so, like, I feel like Miposhka could have set up a really good stomp play, but that skewer, it's all how it's used, and in that case, I was able to get in distance where it wasn't to go Echo Stomp, so
yep.
It's pretty interesting exchange. Drops ready, we see it living at 21-5 to 18-4, but room control's been far good for Mega Squad, and I think they still are going to put a lot of pressure the way.
And he'll get back.
The They say,
Radiant's
want to go Iron
top
Talon? You want to
Radiant's
play? Well,
top
we'll take a
tower
freebie
fortified.
here. It's a glyph horse on top.
Just ridiculous. The mighty Metamorphosis shows it's be able to quickly push down this way. Some serious damage on this tier 1. Mags down, but does auto stop this off here. We'll just kind of have to take that as it is. Still mid lane. The push gets set up as he continues to lurk behind here.
Well, they're going for it up top. They get the glimpse back, and that's
Yes,
going to be
they
a
do.
different play.
Yeah, crush. Dazzle can help a little bit here. Still not. He doesn't have a level right moment. And we'll have to see his fellow just go right. And that's the first hit 5 minutes in, and it goes to Vega.
Some play about the fact that Death doesn't upgrade at level 8, but I would argue that there's a situation where he would live anyways. And if you do shot, he still does follow her and they're gonna still get the kill in the end. So, yeah, it's gonna be the unfortunate that Triple had a very smart rotation coming in from Destroy and West, and they need experience too. I mean, even Finji was leeching mid from the thing just to an earlier level, so that he can actually have.
Yeah, looks like after will plant casual warrior lane, it can get in that side full vision, and we'll take his business back to the side of Iceberg. I don't know if any is easier for them, but likes to be at an adjusting pace. Of course, with Void continuing to be in the dark, it looked like the Poshka is taking its business back towards the bottom lane, so had a bit of swap, but still in that good old a free lane to farm up on his AM. He's top of the CS right now, Blaze at 44 and 12, just a bit ahead of where Terrible is.
No, he's had a very easy lane. I don't even feel like the Void is remotely in a position to contest, only waste opponent's time. So we do see here that he is just going to be jungling, and that's kind of how it plays out. Void struggles against two specific carries, the Ursa and the Anti, just because the Furious Wise or Mana Break is going to be stacking up SG, and its Time Walk is just not going to do its job. Spank has some other issues, but that's another story. In the end, Void knew going into this game he was going to have a slow laning, going to have the jungle, and they're going to have to leave the farm. It's a sacrifice willing to make to try to have a stronger mid game. He picks up the Blink and hopefully a pretty quick blade mail.
He's building his way right there. He was hanging around that for quite a while. I wasn't sure if they were thinking about using the first RP in hopes for a setup on this Legion Commander here, but they will continue to wait. Looks like FNG hangs about. They're going to make some stacks for him, and they continue to be available just to look to make their strike. Okay. Take out. Take RP.
RS DOTA. It's one of my favorites. So just get animations. It's the one time that you get to cancel it and you end up like you feel really bad about yourself. But
then we play the video between the games.
Yeah,
as far as space bombs go. Also, so hold his RP here. Mind game his way on again. Really making things spicy. The King rotated up from the top lane here and is now going to be in the side, or at least handing off in the meantime. And G goes elsewhere. I mean, Legion Commander, mid lane, Legion 7 Blaze, you got your up and ready before you try to some bonus damage to your.
And you can see the opportunity. Obviously, wasting time looking for kills that aren't going to happen. It's a mistake, but oh, Night Void cancel the stop. It's going to be for the Destructor, in fact.
Step by Sayoma there, just to get time pull to allow the AM kind of go to work. Can't sort of defend and stop. Vega will put together another kill. Be now 2-0. Pretty close for the game. Vega is going to creep in some extra.
Alright. So a pretty good advantage here for Vega in terms of like just raw activity. The fact that FN is getting his free farm. Empire can't do anything about the bottom lane. I want to see a smoke. I want to see it get G to really build momentum and really play this to its full potential. The leader knew that he would just be to kind of go even against the Magus as we see 4 10. Part of that just have to be worried about the shining is when he starts dueling, especially the anybody that he get a duel on. Wisp is momentum for Empire.
You're talking about scaling, Blaze. This hero is infinite as long as you get duels and damage. Problem is that like a 25-30 minute mark. Like I've only gotten 1 duels in, and you're feeling of the fire part, considering you are going to be a prime core for your team. Eventually, the hunger comes. G is going to have to find opportunity to make strikes. Agzo's going to be the one to make his own strike. He sprints on it, he does get the shot. Finji's trying to play a bit of here with the sector in hopes of getting close enough made. Got it. Now with Crush, they got it. They pull him right. Be able to bring Vegas another kill to get.
Excellent. That's just the thing need. And G was half a second. Saw this break. Run. They're looking for the kill and it wasn't enough because the short. So the happened just couldn't respond to it in time. Looks like they actually built up an arm. So despite the potential to suppress the anti-bait dagger combined with the blade mail, he actually wants to go for a very physical himself. So make theory Terminator if possible, but I think Armlet is actually one of the better options. Want to have all DPS.
I suppose it's not going right blink. Guess is too much of a threat right now. I imagine that has to be on the agenda at the point.
It relies more on the other side to get the initiative. Yeah. I don't want to be the initiator, I want to be the damage dealer. You need to be and go stick to things.
Aim avoid it doesn't make things too easy for the lead defender being stuck in kind of late position.
But it is able to get close for the duel. That's all I need. So if you get Chrono just in play, you're overwhelmed. You're gonna get that duel. So yeah, in it has acted, you're good to go. Unless just go Whistlecade.
For his sake, that does because I feel like bidding hard for that. Armlet does. It's a bit of a power move. You're going to be able to make this out of it for them, and it could be happening sooner than later as they smoke up and head to the spot again. Pops out. Gee, comes the rest of Empire. Quick out of him. Not really much. Segue what looks like a bottom tier 1 push.
Yeah. For the duel though, they pop him before he gets his other. Really come out when you make up the smoke. Like obviously there's so many game, so every one of them you might kind of make the full, make the most of. Think about it. You 10 damage when you win it. It might have been able to duel. That's the Mesify. So not as effective. And power.
He was hoping to get a kill for some shot. And to help out. There's Vegas response. And the Chrono, they will make it third. Get down. G here. Almost in from the north. Drop down a little. Not enough to get the finish. Now going to be forced back. Still does set a stronger for Empire.
Ooh, they love Sword, but they might still first somehow. The problem is closing the Suzanne has that with night vision. See them, and they even have this on, so they don't too hungry. They get bought and be happy with. The dazzle and the terror, not just like the illusions get gear pieces to be at 1 HP and you that stir off on hopefully will turn back so well. So dazzle and blade, kings of turn engagement, and all they need is initiation.
It almost is a beacon of now follow. Looks like FN is going to go right to some nice little ancient grind farm consistency and easily cuts right through him. He has got great farm. I mean, he got Battle Fury in very good time. He's not yet already 1,000 towards going them to build up, taking pretty good time.
Absolutely. Again, he's that's illusion, but since she didn't rush out the link, he's got a little bit more time to. Yeah, he's going to be hit pretty hard when she has both arm and blink, but at least for the moment, he's some breathing. He's going to actually just go into the Yasha, so he's going to from no blood, no anger, and he's just going to rely on farm and if it's going to come up to relocate out.
We'll see. That say both going to be pretty heavy-handed to be set things up or at least bailed in a moment. Notice Empire got the initiative.
Dire's top tower is under
So,
attack.
no media can use out from Vega. Let this one go, but TPs are rolling towards them.
Dire's top
This is
tower
a
is
blink
under
match
attack.
here. Head. Hey, did that elevator side. He's trying to keep where the dog flies out. It is a straight miss though. There goes the for bad. The duels there for the adversaries. They certainly can with the help of the else. More than enough. There goes no right now. There is going to be the relocate, and this is no. They quick try retreat if possible here. It looks like Iceberg will blink TV out.
Roche is low enough that it's going to go right back. And we'll take it for now. It's going to be a clean agent. They'll lose 2 for 2, but that's worth it. Getting the agent, getting that extra ability of momentum. I think that you're going to tear. I mean, now Legion is only 1,200 away from the better. They've got stacks for days to clear, and they're just a great position.
They do now, like they were in a position where they were happy to take more of the initiatives. Normally, as a part of the game, you're looking at your Wisp. He's got his reload, and it's a bit want to make more offensive moves, but seeing the push him out, and off him, and Matt slow down his big fire and continue to fall.
And the biggest problem right now, their vision isn't really giving them a good read of what everyone wants to. Like right now, they had an idea that going on great, but these epics, they just had this little traipse into the dire jungle, but didn't play a single ward. So we're gonna see movement. We're gonna see aggressive movement from Vega. Don't see that coming, so they're just have to wherever they come. I still can't win a fight with an amazing reverse polarity. They've got Battle Fury, Empower, Q combo, but they really is the biggest combo, either Disruptor or the Magnus, to really make this salvageable. They're just going to split foot, just going to keep on fighting Chrono comes up.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Vegas hide behind their and is on the lane there at a moment's notice and keep his hat here from Empire, or an opportunity does present itself. And Empire not looking to take fight now and are going to be content just grinding on their own bit of arm while it looks like it's one mid lane on the for them. All that happens, able to go for the top 2. Make sure that down to show stuff off here in the top. And reload though. The mid lane is where action is breaking out. They look to make the first move. They get G quick response. Chrono is there. It's an off illusion. Takes down. They'll get this kill with the help of G. Looking him on down. Nice 2-man sun comes out. Another Titan and roll on through Vega here. Iceberg, one of the last spots. Look to try to make his escape. He gets the blink away. Is good for. It is Empire who gets the big hit there before Chrono comes out.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Really, the fact that they had on the turret and say, "Hey, have a TP," we kept pushing one. So what we can do is pull anybody to come up, and then they get swapped mid. I think that was a really good strategy. The problem is you focus the terrible because of the assist and traps the deck behind him. To get the Legion just buys back. Look, they got the TP in, but there's too many counters. There's the other time. Like, so easy for Vega to be too close up with their and get. It's gonna be Empire's game. Like this.
We gotta see backup for Vega on this one. The initiative they were hoping to take at this point in the game was just simply not there, and really Empire was kind of dealing with what they wanted to do. G still though, struggling against Dagger, I guess, is the light here for Vega. Hitting for the buyback has kind of, but you know, with the momentum they've already built up, as they come in for another tower, Dagger will be here before no.
I don't feel the Wisp this game. And the one thing that he can do is locate save. He's able to do that quite a bit, and they did try to ball play lane now, but this here is
a nice little those guys are trying to do a little bit of jungle harm and read the situation. Saw him just simply bounce. So good hit and run there from Vig. Just a little bit more out on their side, but oh man, they're so close to where FNG relocates back.
You think he's
good? He has the low ground and he is going to box.
And they're hitting tier 2. It's actually going to be Creed's already pressed. Vig like throwing this here, like just get involved. He wants to actually let somebody back. I'm not sure if it's being. It doesn't look like.
Yeah, the TPs are already there, way back and behind to avoid any sort of catch. And if fourth Empire will be able to get on that tier 2 in the bottom lane, and Aloha goes right back into the grid of his own farm here, sporting about 2,500 gold. They agent still in hand. Underway, still second and fourth, of course, only FN, but a lot behind this Airblade at the moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to evaluate that stuff, and I feel like because there was oh, I'm gonna go on G here, gonna put a lot of damage, and just burst down. And a few quicks from FN. This guy with Empower is putting almost, like, it's 260 or 270 damage. So he is able to do so much work quickly with that low base attack time, and that's a very important kill. Is the die back makes it so that it's even harder for him to get back a game. He does have Blink Dagger, at least that didn't get delayed further, but a great little RP.
Sleep justified hate RP and Mana Void right. It gets GS sideline without, as you already mentioned, the buyback. It's out of the far long, but worth bolts.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that long the cooldown for the reverse 100 seconds. It's the shortest for sure, but it's like 150 seconds, so gonna be able to go for the mech farm, which he could have short. And continue to play the map, like where FN gets the farm because he's not a duel. This is exactly what you want in Age, and just one little quick pick off enables that. Even now, like there's a Dazzle and a shit Airblade running.
So that will continue to do his thing and trying to be a problem later on. Slar feeling all a bit feisty here. He's going into an armlet build on his Slardar. Typically, obviously in this position, some more utilities, but yeah, opting to go for just the deeps.
When the big armlet buff came out and it gave all that armor without any extra nerfs to it, Safe Lane Slardar was a very common build-up to go for the armlet even first before the trigger. And you sometimes thought it was there, but it's just still good that you always had to kind of consider it.
Okay, I thought he was thinking about maybe a move there, but not really able to test much.
It literally have to Chrono and or splitter him just to kill an anti-mage. It's, you know, this killing an anti-mage, but even like 9% for 3 ultimates, dual curve and splitter.
FN is just a point, you know, should really, but right now, after getting a bottom lane, it looks like he'll just continue on track, head top, you know, the rest of his team make their own move here. Maybe hope sort of regulars in the Empire junk, but in case the Empire are already to make their own move, put their smoke, and instead we'll take some opportunity to drop down some look like offensive wards and swing to the bottom. But definitely Empire a bit more thirsty try to be able to swing things back away, because as they continue to lurk now and getting anything done, the farm continues to be a big problem here. And with more kills coming from Empire, you're not going to see that much more bonus damage coming in. And I don't know how much of a fact G is going to be behind there.
I mean, just so much going for him right now. He's rising correct. He's got the C again. Still has a bit of armor in spite of that aura. And
located party. Aloha Dance goes down nearly as fast as we get there to win this. That'll be the end of it. An emphatic statement comes out from Vega, and then they can look maybe make their trying to get FG now. And when the helmet goes, it will be certainly so much. Also means that second jumping a beautiful crush. All faceless void drive sidewalk out, but get glimpse back. It's going to be forced to dig up forward, and it's all defense. for Empire to be able to pull away alive.
He was on Chrono, like after the Void died.
Yeah.
And maybe he was able to buy back or something, but
Not the case
he
at all.
Chronos, he runs, and got blade, but they've got no control.
Terrible. Oh, back, and they collect my back out of there. It's gone. Before he did. The action though, he's good.
He's okay. But if he didn't have a scroll, like that's just Rax.
Bash? No. There for
Unfortunately.
Empire.
But that's the Terrorblade buy. The Chronosphere, there's just so much wasted by Empire as Vega are just taken back by Arm. Like Empire did seem to have a point of leverage here in like the first 15 minutes of the game. They had a lot of tools to make the fight the way they wanted to. FN just got so big.
He's huge.
And his team played so well behind him. The Wisp was always in tether range. The Magnus is ready to help him out, or even set up for a kill or two. Like, this is a 404 anti-age, but that doesn't tell the story. It's the fact that he has double the net worth of the third place hero, and almost double the second. Like, I know these guys are brothers in lore, but one of them is the third child.
He's been just so diligent. There's barely no time for FN to be doing something he needs to do, whether it's just grinding away farm or in preparation for some sort of. He just goes to work, and a lot of like, FNG and the support staff, they're there right behind him, and they're like, we're going to go middle right now. And they just take him and they go, they get his business done, and he goes right back to doing what he needs to do. And it's frightening right now for Empire with how big and scary he is. They didn't even take any some push. They had 3 already. He went away from that fight with about 5,000 gold. It's like he's a little bit now, but he's going to get scarier than the line they made. Just Empire are going to be considering a response here. They're hoping that this Roche is going to be out. Hopefully for that to be about a few seconds as they stick around. As long as they stick around.
Yeah, that's
okay, they will be able to see her. You know, who knows if Vega will be privy to it or not. And
He's
they're already on Waveblade. They have a smoke, they have a Magnus with RP in about 5 seconds time. A recipe for disaster if Empire are not careful. It looks like we've got a reload here. It's just a simple jump over the river to get kicked. It's about 4 shots. It's about all the he has a great hand the back inside. Still hand up the and FN will continue to slaughter. It's a Helmet will have to get that out of there because they lost 3 in a blink of an eye, and they are about to lose 4.
Yeah, I mean, look at this Empire lineup, and I feel like half of it is designed to counter an anti-mage, but I guess in Soviet Russia, this guy, he's able to win his bulls against heavy opposition, and he's now got evasion. They have almost no killing him. Like, he doesn't get armor on the order from the fly, he's got the evasion, he's got the AC aura, he's good to go. This is just be taken right to the high ground. Who takes Roshan when you can just pick the lane? They already took the tier 3, now they're looking at the racks.
Slim back.
They even get push out of it.
They got me pushing it down. We gotta give credit to Upberg. He jumped, got those backline G, and we're not able to be there for G. One from Vega, ready? And Empire will do a very good a good head start on the Terrorblade, but things escalated. They got everything they could ask for. Top racks are down, mid or center. Empire will already be the last rope here to defend. They're going to pop the Chronosphere right now. Looks like an FNG. One of the Wisp, though, is not going to make up for all the game had been done.
Static Storm up for 3 seconds, so even if they pursue, it's not a guaranteed fight. But at this point, it is going to be just 2 full lanes of racks and they're in shambles. They do not have great heroes dealing with all incoming. They don't have a Maelstrom or Cleave, and yeah, they're just gonna have to desperately go for Roshan while the Wisp is down. There's RP in 7 seconds. Their status is up now.
As you mentioned, it feels like a desperate maneuver here for Empire. I don't think it's gonna be. There's Vega. He goes right to he's there to follow up, and look at the fireworks show. Beautiful there does come out from a punch, but no, this doesn't kill a teammate. Can Empire hold this one? Nah, Mag is there. He jumps in. He can but no. Bloodhead is still going to be alive. Empire hold there, Roshan. Wow. Claims triple, and Empire say we are not done yet.
What a sunfire coming out from the Terrorblade, putting in 2,000 damage on top of that throughout the fight. And the ET Earth put a full combo. He got 2 Echo Thumps in that in tight position. Oh, that was just the dream for him. Unfortunately, it feels like it's coming out a little bit too late with 2 racks down, but they've still got some fight in them, man. I mean, they are great at fighting at close choke points. The Mage, very, very aggressive, jumping in and just knowing that the Mag would be there. and as well the Magnus, and it did look bad, but Dazzle, terrible, their fight turners, AT as well, and what looks to be just a clean sweep for Vega turns into a little bit of a point of contention. Empire still back against the wall, but they've got Aegis, they've got a TB hungry to push down mid.
Obviously Vega, I mean, how much of it would you put on them just getting a bit over, a bit ahead of themselves on that one?
I think even if they only had like a 1 Rax advance, they'd still go. I think that they feel really confident in the Agnes and order. They kill the people there, that fight's done, even with the ET. Because the Sunder, like, you just get too much on the Terrorblade and you're toast. But it was a weave coming in Dazzle that only hit AM offensively, and then they reacted really well. I feel like maybe Vega underestimated Empire's potential in that situation, and maybe they were just too confident in the RP or the Crush, but end of the day, you can't win them. I think that they take that fight anyway.
It does not get Empire out of the hole, which they've been placed into at this point, but it does cut the net worth down quite a bit, and allows Empire to put together some serious fight. In particular, Ghostic walking away with that triple kill does get a little more in the bank for him here. Still sits a lot of it right now, but Empire really waiting a whole to get right back into the work starting to do here on comeback play. And Smoke looking to find a strong position here. I don't know if it's enough to catch out maybe a side-pushing FNAM, but while it's out there in front, you do have FG and company nearby, so we'll have to see who's going to be particularly looking to make this move. Vega, no, they might be nearby in the trees, and they make their jump right on top of FNG. Can they get the whip out enough here with the stacks? They'll finally be able to bring him down, and then Mad could be following it. Vega quickly lose 3. Aloha gets the Sunder, but there's going to be the RP. FN says, like, fight though, I gotta go. And Vega quickly pull off.
You see that attack speed though, the Moon Shard, the Butterfly, it looked like he had an extra Saber that was just constantly on cooldown. This guy has nearly maxed out attack speed on such a low base attack time. He can deliver so much damage in this short frame, but end of the day, still, Empire were able to get that done quickly enough. Delivery capability not helping too much, but you're absolutely compelled to attack the opposition, so that is Vega in that exchange, but still their heads high as FN is carrying them to victory.
Lead though, Empire to the nail. We'll try to get themselves back into an even playing field possible on this one, but as mentioned, he's feeling pretty good about this FN, who had still a bit of ceiling ahead of him to kind of build if necessary.
I gotta say though, the word game from Empire's been acting really strong. Like, they know this is the real Antimates. They're gonna get the combo. Can they get...
Oh, Manta's there at the end. Tries to ride for G and quickly pieces out.
Yep, the Manta to burn out the last remnants we had, so not only is it hard to choose on 3, it is going to be impossible without them able to deliver it. But Empire have good wards. I mean, all game long they've had good deep wards. They had they started off strong, and even now, the ward game is pretty strong. They even got the gem away from the Disruptor the last they brought him down. So the math feels good for Empire, but you can't ignore the fact that there are still 4 barracks down.
Yeah, I mean, there's still going to be that constant pressure there. Empire do have a respectable lineup of being able to spam out the lanes and relieve the pressure a bit. Dazzle's still, Terrorblade does a good number. Elder Titan can hold his own here, but it's still something that to kind of continue to keep tabs on. So the ability for Empire to really push past the river and move forward with the objective game is just not going to be easy. I don't know if that means it requires them being able to follow it up after a good team fight or not, but it's a lot of pressure still for Empire to be able to get back into the positive. So we'll see here. Bottom lane though, Vega, another new approach. Last time they approached here in the bottom lane, they did his epic fast. He got jumped, but this time we'll have to see if things go a bit different.
Alright, so we just got a Lotus Orb on the starter, and I really want to see a double Thunder. I want to see that TV. Shallow Graved up, 1 HP, unleashes his full fury, and they both just lose health. Like, nope, you're still at like, what are the minimum threshold is, 20% or something? 25%. So, yeah, it's actually a pretty answer.
It's pretty obvious, too, if you see a Grave come out, there's a giant beam that says, hey, Lotus, now.
Yeah, it just depends on who you Lotus. I guess the healthiest guy is in range, but yeah, if you can get that Lotus, you can keep it low, and that Grave will only delay rather than turning the fight, and that's really, really important. The other thing is you get double duel, so like if G duels the Lotus Orb target, and so kill G first, you actually get double damage, but otherwise, it's just a pretty interesting item that can do a number of things.
So kind of game changer. It's going to be here for the side of Vega, and if Empire will be able to have their wits about them to eating under effectively, but they smoke now. They go on the move. They're heading towards the road front. Max there. He is suddenly smoke pops. He blinks. He crushes it, and he just weasels out. Oh! He comes down. He leads to the team. They quickly put up. He barely kept alive in the last second, but it's not going to be good now. Man, that found the opening. It was by accident, but it was there, and the game is good. It is over. Whoa!
And I praise Matt. Nerves of steel here. Smoke breaks, and the immediate reaction for any player in Dota 2 is blink out, get away, and he's like, what can I do with this? I know they're here. They're probably together. Boom, shakalaka, RP, clean him up. We're going to be seeing a very different opener here. Obviously, we looked at the Elder Titan Void as an option previously from Empire. They're not going to be looking at either of those heroes, despite them both being in the pool. So they're looking in terms of when they want to fight, because Juggernaut's a hero that he's got a really strong like hyper late game if he's like 6-7 slotted, and he's got a pretty solid early game. But the real question is what he does with this mid game that really can keep him effective throughout that time period.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny. I mean, as you said, a bit of a different start for these teams, but not different for where the meta really has shown. And if you told me a couple of months ago that Oracle and Kunkka were going to be some of your top prize supports in the game, I would have definitely had a bit of a chuckle, but not the case this time. They were both banned in game number 1. This time they both will see the light of play here. Typically that Oracle had been paired a lot with the Sand King. It gets the first phase ban here by Empire, so they will not be able to peg it together with that one, but we do get our first axe of the day.
Remaining.
So dunks are upon us, and I'm excited about that one here. His particular role into this game, though, doesn't seem so straightforward right now, unless they're looking to source on that BKB piercing, that Blade Fury piercing, ability to lock down this Jug. You know, Jug had been a go-to response for a lot of teams, especially going against the kind of lockdown that, you know, like Miranda brings, but now you have this axe there right behind you, and things for this Jug are just not going to be too much easier. They follow up the Jug, and they go right into the Faceless Void once again. Vega, though, they don't hesitate, Blaze. They quickly followed up with the Ricky shortly after, so...
Yeah, and I really do think that Vega just have the potential to secure a really good laning phase. It depends on how they want to use the axe in this environment, but I don't generally want somebody to be farming the jungle and roaming on the map. You want to be able to put pressure out with this Riki, so you want most likely the axe to be in the off lane. The axe and the Riki kind of pair up, see what they can do up against Juggernaut and the supports, and kind of play it like we saw that Sand King Riki earlier today, where it's just very aggressive, very involved, hopefully not feeding the carry 8 kills, but you know, somewhere kind of happy medium in there. So yeah, I do think that the axe is going to be put in a position where he gets very aggressive. He's going to be looking for those big blink calls. It's a very short cooldown on Berserker's call, so it really can extend the fight and put a lot of great damage in, but they want even more follow-up. So this last core from Vega is going to have to be very effective. They got a great support lineup, they've got great initiation, but FN needs something that can just pound it away. In the meantime, though, Empire are going to be picking up a Disruptor for themselves, so going back to the Void, going back to this Disruptor option is something that, well, while it was in the hands of Sioma last time, it is a really good hero for fighting in close clumps, close quarters, and we saw that so many times last game, where they were in Roche Pit, and it was under heavy contest, in these kind of small funnels down, up and down steps. It just really seems like that's the hero that you need in those kinds of situations.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. So what do you think, though, on the idea of what they want to get for possibly FN here for Vega? You're asking about someone who can kind of bring the game, bring the pressure, bring the power, and one of the classic FN grabs to me was going to be something like an Ursa. Do you think Ursa is a formidable pickup at all for Vega at this point, or is it too much?
I mean, I talked about how I really like Oracle and Ursa together, and it could work for sure, but I would think something maybe more like a Sven. Just you really want raw damage coming out very early in the fight. So I feel like, because that's the way you get Culling Blade coming out earlier and earlier, and that's how you're going to be able to secure an engagement. So I think anything that can make the quick jump, Ursa is still in that general category where he blinks in, you know, lays into somebody with his Furious Swipes, and you'll see somebody go down pretty quick. But, you know, it's not the perfect choice. I would say if you had a Beastmaster instead of an Axe, sure, you'd look at something like an Ursa. But in this case, maybe the Sven or anything else that just kind of gets in there, gets the job done. You also have to remember you're lining up against Faceless Void, so anything that can address that. Last time we had the Anti-Mage, that's great. Ursa can fit that bill as well.
It's interesting to see the teams are now. You know, it's a BTS series, Blaze. It's $5,000.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little surprised the teams aren't having a bit more fun. They're not doing anything too not too much of it. Like they're not being too much of an exhibitionist. I guess I could say they're not having a lot of funky, fresh stuff here. But you know, they're looking to make a serious stride. They know that this is one of the first real public appearances, I guess you could say, of the tournament season.
See, the interesting thing is
where tournaments are scouting hopeful invites, maybe, for qualifiers.
Yeah, so the way I look at it is essentially you've got scrims, you've got these kind of lower level tournaments, and then you've got the big premier events. This is not an ESL land, this is not a summit, this is not a major.
And you need to have all of those.
Yes.
You can't just have some.
Exactly, otherwise you see what happens with teams like Secret or whoever that just, they play one or the other, and it turns out that they don't have the practice with a certain lineups, and they just don't make it work. So, well, it's not as experimental as I expected it to be, I'll admit that. I will say that they're still, they want to make a good appearance.
Yeah.
This is essentially like a scrim that both teams can take very seriously. Obviously there's some money on the line. Yeah. There's public image as well. It's a really good time to really refine what they already have in their heads about certain things. For example, FNG being new to the squad. And yeah, just because we've seen this kind of a draft from him before, doesn't mean that they've played it a lot. So they want to be able to really shore up the mechanics and shore up the communication and coordination in these kind of higher level matchups, and that's why we see a very respectful draft from both sides.
And you'd be surprised because you think oh, we're scrimming, it has to be serious then. You'd be surprised how many teams and players I run into, and they're like, I wish we could just scrim, such and such, and they would take it seriously.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams, but I heard enough that some teams want an opportunity like this to be able to play. It's still in the public, and there's still some money, so they kind of have to take it pretty seriously.
Well, I can add a little bit to that, since I have coached a couple of teams. I've spectated a lot of scrims. One of the teams that I coach straight up picked a hero just so that they could see how the other team picked against it, and then pretty much for them, in their minds, the game was done at that moment.
They think until they need it, and they're done there.
They really just did it where it was essentially a probing draft, and it's just so frustrating for a team to have to practice against that and really not get the experience they want out of it. So even if this isn't the big money pot on the line, this isn't the big money, they could appreciate that it's going to be taken seriously, and it's going to be a good game of Dota 2, which we've had so far, all these games. We had one go past 60 minutes, but I would say all these games are pretty solid.
I'm not going to lie, I was expecting a bit of a hot mess to lead in the early part of the Dota season, teams kind of feeling each other out, learning what their new rosters are really capable of, learning what heroes they're still kind of working with. But, without too many over-dramatic balance changes since TI, people have a general idea of what seems to work and what doesn't seem to work, and for the meantime, don't feel it's too necessary to experiment too much outside that comfort zone. So I can appreciate that for now. We'll have to see if that's going to continue to be the case, or maybe some of the new funkier teams that are going to be playing this series are going to look to bring some new fresh ideas that could get some of the old veterans thinking a bit more. That always seems to be how kind of Dota seems to work. So nonetheless, let's get underway, folks. It's game number 2, right?
Yeah, well, it's a 2-game series. It is game 2 with...
They forgot the indicator at the top.
I'll
slap around that admin.
We've got some great volunteers here admitting for us, so I appreciate their work, and I'll go ahead and remind them about that one after this one here. But it is Vega up 1-0 in this case here. Just check out this Fen, dude. FN, look how pathetic. This is the most, of all the ridiculous swords, this is the most ridiculous one I have seen of this hero.
Yeah, if I went into battle and saw a guy carrying that thing, I wouldn't know if he was coming to strike me or cut some bread. That's a ridiculous looking knife right there. That's cool.
That's just interesting. But, yeah, so it's going to be FN on this Fen. Talked about its strength against the Void here. The longer duration stun, 2 seconds, means that he can't just easily time walk, shrug off all the damage that he's taken throughout it. Along with that, it's just going to be really good for getting that quick set of damage out. You blink in with an Echo Saber, whop whop, and they might as well be in culling range, blade range. They just do a lot of quick burst damage. Combine that with Appearing Flying Flames, and you're going to call and heal. Now we're actually going to see some nice little body blocks, but the stun comes out a little bit too late, and Ghostic will be able to slip through their figures.
And he was like on his lap. I mean, that's just the thing with the spend stun. Like even if you're like right in front of him, there's still that little bit of delay. It's enough of a reaction time. Ghostic will be able to make it away from trouble, but Vega are just trying to make their presence there so that this Faceless Void cannot have an easy time. But it's Faceless Void, after all, one of the best top laners in the game, so he'll always have that get out of jail free card there to be able to step away from the trouble. Back at mid lane, I feel like we've already seen this kind of matchup earlier, right? It was G playing the Jug against Mirana. And this time he'll get around two with it against Iceberg's Mirana, who's taking a lot of early damage already.
Yeah. It's just a little bit of luck on the Blade Dance. It's a pretty reliable hit at 20%, so if you're trading hits even up against the hero at range, then you're in a pretty good position. He's also got that healing ward, which, as long as he keeps it away from the Mirana, she's never going to commit for elite to try to kill it, right? So, because that would be suicide. So in this position, he's able to get a very nice boost to his health pool while still laying in the damage, and Iceberg is going to be the one that no longer has the ability to sustain himself.
And very confident G, happy to even continue the CS game and harassment right under the tower too, so he'll continue to truck forward with that. It looks like FNG will still show himself here in the top lane as they continue to zone back Ghostic as best as possible, but of course never really being able to kind of seal the deal. And
so Mag does opt for the Iron Talon build-up and is just going to go focus on the jungle here. This is obviously a good option to guarantee that the Axe gets his items at a good clip. Going into the off lane as Axe is actually very risky.
But we got a wild Kunkka here with a haste rune who's looking to find where Axe is. He was pinged on his way through, and it's like, there you are.
Ghostic actually might go down here. He's getting nuked. One more Purified Flames. No, he time walks, and he gets a double heal out of it. He'll be back up to full in no time.
Wonderful hero with a wonderful ability that seems to come up all the time, and he makes it away from trouble. Again, Ghostic is able to Vega and will live on, and as mentioned, Purifying Flames will only help him stay in the lane that much longer too. But Kunkka's here to keep tabs on Mag. He wants to make sure that Mag doesn't have that easy breezy time.
But here comes the flank. Iceberg has a pretty easy arrow in my mind. Yep, set up by the Berserker's Call. That's going to be half of Mikoshka's health gone, but can't get the rest of it with this Starstorm. It looks like he will fall. Yeah, ticks down. No, the Battle Hunger
He's
expires.
still fine.
At the last moment, he doesn't have a TP scroll, so he is going to be the first blood, but it will take them a little bit longer than they wanted it to.
Oh my god, he turns, he runs back out the other way.
There's no way.
He lives from this.
There's no way.
I don't want to make a promise I don't want to keep, so he ends up going down. But my god, he made him really sweat for that. It's a lot of time away from the lane, I guess. You know, anything you can do to delay things out, I suppose, is a win in his book.
Absolutely. So, in this case, they are able to clean it up here, and Axe's presence actually forces Miposhka into a compromised position. Takes a little while, and we do see that G continues to dominate. Actually, he's even in CS, so he didn't get that much out of the time period where Mirana was away from the lane. But more importantly, I want to examine how FNG has moved so far in this game, because like I was saying, Axe gets more reliable action from the Iron Talon in the jungle, but it is very possible for a Regan and Axe to contest the lane. Instead, we see that Aloha Dance is farming the bottom lane, and they were actually pushing past tier 1 tower. They were like going for tons of damage on this tier 1, and that should fall in a wave or two if they don't send somebody bottom soon.
Mag, gotta be careful here. It looks like he will be able to make it back and away, so... Not the most confidence with where Vega has kind of situated himself in the landing phase. Ghostic, though, might be going down. If he can't walk away from the cloud, it looks like he will not be able to. With levels coming together now for the support staff of Vega, now it's an easier opportunity for them to punish the Void when he is out of position like that. And Vega will begin to etch ahead now 2-0 already at the start. Still nearby, floating around this mid lane, Miposhka continues to kind of stand watch in the nearby jungle and continue to just kind of be around at a moment's notice here for a potential setup. And well, as I say that, looks like he'll make the full rotation all the way up to this top lane in the meantime. So, being there by the side of the Faceless Void seems to be a priority now for Empire. And so they can secure a little bit of free farm for him. But as that happens, G's now in trouble in the mid lane. Arrow though, swing and a miss. But it looks like they will be able to catch him with the call. And with some extra assistance coming out, we will see our first dunkage of the game. Mag picks up that one, and they can pull ahead now 3-0.
Yep, and obviously a very important kill here, as the mid matchup has been kind of back and forth here. We could see G pull away with it. And it's coming through, and it looks like Vega are going to be holding strong here, 3-0. And Yeah, I actually think they're pretty confident going into the next stage of the game. The Sven, FN, is going to be getting a lot done. The real wild card is going to be these Eclipses. If Luna can get some really good damage out with the Eclipse, especially in Chrono, you could still see this game go very much in favor of Empire. It just comes down to those fights.
It looked like maybe they're hoping to kind of make a fight happen there at the top lane. They rotated G in. I mean, he has Omni good to go. No fights really there. They'll instead kind of work with the pull camp nearby.
The Dire Ward sees the Luna. They're not going to go anywhere near this.
No, certainly not. But Empire, they'll just group together and make a push forward. If the fight's not going to be there, maybe they could bring one their way. But I imagine that Vega don't really want to.
It's really hard. Like, they don't have any good way of initiating.
Yeah.
If they get an arrow on the back line, sure. But otherwise, like, how does Axe get in position to get a good call off? It looks like, again, they'll take the fight to them, but you're then fighting in the jungle against an Eclipse, which is one of the worst things you can do.
Okay, there's the jump from FNG, drops the smoke, and they quickly segregate a bit. Now G caught in the midst a bit. Wave Fairy will conclude. They jump back out. Aloha Dance going to get popped with the stun. They do not want to risk being isolated here, away from the creeps. Very touch and go from both teams. A lot of respect on the team fight.
Good disengage there from Vega. They did what they had to make sure the Riki got out safely, but they do not want to fight in the jungle against the Eclipse. They want to fight on the creep wave when the enemy is mispositioning and kind of easy to arrow or to flank with a call. Now Kuka's rotated mid, and they're going to look for action there.
Yeah, they can't hang around top lane. They want to find kills elsewhere if possible. It looks like mid lane could be the target. There's going to be a call from Mag. Between Mag and FNG, do they have the fight power to be able to bring down this Kunkka? They're trying to block him. They're trying to slow him. They need a bit more. They want the dunk, and they got it right then and there. Back at top lane behind the tower now. They're looking to make it full door. Here's Seoma going to be caught and taken down, as they will get the finish and make it a 1-for-1 split. That gets Empire finally on the board, and they're looking to follow it up with a tier 1 tower.
Yep, nice little glimpse there from King R. Keeps the Oracle in a compromised position, but not a lot of time to DPS the tower now. It's going to be sitting here about half HP, and I think Vega might be able to get themselves back up in time to deal with it. They've got the glyph, they've got the TPs, but do they have the health and the mana they need to really reinforce it? So it looks like they're just going to have to let it drop.
Yeah, en route. Seoma's there, Ricky's already there. They don't really have a lot to work with, though, unless they want to get a cheeky deny. Nah, not going to be happening. Aloha Dance will be able to pick up that one. And it goes right back into the casual creep game here. Mid lane, arrow out. Will not find its target here. Iceberg goes right back into the lane. We're looking at Empire with a slight net worth advantage. Oh, leap, but the X was already there. Pulled right back into the torrent. And Omni Slash will bounce on through a couple of times. Nice. And with no more leap, nowhere to go, Iceberg is just going to have to eat the Blade Fury, and he goes down. Empire get another kill and make it 2-4.
Yeah, so obviously it was 3-0 previously, so getting those 2 kills, big deal for Empire, and not having to use the Eclipse to do it. They take the top tier 1, already having taken bottom. I think that overall Empire are really getting the kills they need to get back into this one. In the meantime, though, we are going to be seeing Mag find that Blink Dagger very shortly, and then you'll have the Sven, who's got that Dominator, who's got the Echo Saber, and can just keep going.
Sorry, Miposhka, you're a bit slow on that one. He was standing, guarding the bounty rune, suddenly disappears, and before he's like, wait, what? What? Tries to pop the dust. Ricky's already gone, and now he's a man down Maroon and very sad about it. But they are looking for vengeance now. They smoke up, they become their own little Rickies, and they move in for payback. Let's see if they can find a setup.
And it's not going to break either, because we're going to see the Riki on mid, so they can just make a move.
He got close enough. He doesn't know what's there. He doesn't know what's happening. He wastes an arrow. He's trying to go for a neutral creep, and he loses his own life. Oh, wrong place at the wrong time for Iceberg.
Oh, just leap on cooldown, X'd up, doesn't see it coming whatsoever, and now they've got the double damage room on the truck, so they're going to go for more.
Glimpse pullback. They had the dust already popped. FNG's in trouble. Tries to pop down the smoke screen here. The X actually pulls him up and above, but right into the arms of Aloha Dance, who will grab that kill. And suddenly we have an even ball game here. Early on, just before 10 minutes, it's going to be Empire who claim the mid tier 1. This comes after already getting the top tier 1. What, 3-4 straight kills, 2 Blaze? They're on a serious run right now and are taking about a 3K net worth lead overall.
They really are digging this combo between the Juggernaut and the Luna, where they just have so much push presence early. Like I said, Juggernaut can have a pretty weak mid game if he's not farmed right or played right, but in this case, you get such an advantage in the early towers that you're able to just propel yourself towards that late game so quickly. So the Juggernaut, even going for a fighting build over a farming build, is still going to be at the top of the net worth.
Vega will rotate in and force Empire back, and yeah, you know, with the Empire lineup that they have between the Luna and the Jug, they just always seem to have something ready to go and ready for a fight here. And Vega's windows of opportunity just seem much fewer and further between, at least for where the game is right now, until a point when the Axe builds up a bit more utility. He has the Blink Dagger now, and they're hoping to put it to use, some more use at least, as they smoke and move on in. But yeah, then once the Sven comes together and gets lots of farm, then there's lots of potential for Vega. But right now they got this. Yeah, they did. Blink in from Mag is a beautiful setup right for Aloha Dance. Of all the people you could ask for, you get one of the best targets you can get. So Luna will go down. Oh, jumping from FNG as they see the Kunkka approach here. There's a smoke screen. They're taking this one a bit cautiously. There's going to be the boat. They will be able to sidestep it here. Now comes King R. Tricks to the trade, though. Makes it for no easy target. There's the jumping call. They're looking to get the burst here for King R. Will they be able to get it? Yes, they will. Ghost Chick right into a smoke screen. Will not be able to respond in any sort of way, and Vega will ease out in a way with their winnings.
Yeah, and really important fights to execute perfectly, because we just saw the Kunkka, the Disruptor, and the Void all got their level 6 very recently. Ghost Stick is a little bit behind. He had his Chrono maybe the last part, but the Disruptor and the Kunkka, through the Tome of Knowledge, are able to both pick up the Ghost Ship and the Static Storm at the time where it's most important. If Vega overstay their welcome, they get clumped up too much on one target, they get turned around hard with those spells. But we saw the ship only delayed the death, and Vega are able to get the kills they want and disengage cleanly.
And Empire looking to go right back the other direction now. They had built up this position where they kind of were up and ahead, 3K of net worth, got the kills even here. Vega grab a couple of themselves, and they're looking to not hand over any extra momentum. They're hanging out now, smoked up, looking to invade and go for this ancient camp here. No one is nearby, Iceberg close, but already out the back door here. It looks like the game sense is tingling here for Vega, and they're avoiding the situation. As I said, they make the move for Iceberg. And the whole kit and caboodle comes out from Little Kunkka, and that's going to be more than enough to knock down Moran on the other side. A good Chrono setup here comes out from Ghost Chick, catches out FNG, but FNG is still good. Not anyone close enough to help burst him down, and he walks away, and that Chrono goes on the cooldown.
Yeah, they ran out of detection. They've spread out so many sentries, used so much dust, and in the end, it's not unlimited supply. You do end up running out, and that does mean the Riki will live to see another day. But down bottom, actually, right next to the creep wave, I feel like they want to try to look at an option for going on the Luna, and that's why Mag is still sticking around in this general area. But with the night vision, Aloha didn't seem to have scattered it out.
Yeah, they ping right where he is, but he's in actually a nice little nook of the trees. Not a common spot, and they just figure he's gone. But they're still flirting around. He's got to feel like there are sharks in water around him, but he's safe in the meantime. Meanwhile, not so safe. Good arrow connection for Aloha Dance. G waltzes right off through and past. Iceberg waits for him to move on forward, and then looks to come in from behind. Meanwhile, the jump is set for FN. Eclipse does fly out. He gets a nice little save. Pulse promises it's going to be enough. No, it's not. Sven easily goes down. Empire look for anyone else kind of hanging around for any sort of defense. Will take their one win. And it looked like they were going to head for the Roche pit, but they changed their mind.
They consider their options and realize that it might take a little bit too long. They can get more by just taking the map, and by taking this tier 2, they might guarantee the Roshan next. But you do see Mag actually coming out of smoke, rubbing onto Blood, and does get glimpsed back, but in the meantime, they've done a hell of a lot of damage. It's a great arrow.
Blooding enough, they don't need Mag to be there for the dunk. The arrow connects, the nuke damage, the Starfall, all going to be more than enough firepower to be able to take down Aloha Dance, and that quickly stunts the push from Empire.
And that's what they were worried about with the whole pit thing. Even if Sven is down, you got arrow, you've got call, and that's a very enclosed space. So in the end, they try to go what they feel is the safer play, but Mag sees through it, goes in for the smoke movement there, and is able to set his team up for a great kill. So they don't lose any objectives off of the death of Sven. In fact, Sven took, in my mind, an objective by cleaning up that ancient camp. That ancient camp was heavily stacked up. He got strength, bursted down right when the fight is beginning. So while they do end up killing him off, he got the money that he needed just before then.
Yep, and Echo Saber soon to be in his pocket, and the Sven becomes so much stronger at that point. So we'll have to see if Empire can continue to kind of feel as confident striding to the side of Vega, or if Vega are going to pull off like what we saw in game number 1 and just pretty much begin to take the game right back on the back of FN. So top lane though, eyes on G. G with Omni ready to go, with a TP, with everything. Can he pull it out in time? Doesn't look like it. Jump in, early call, there's an arrow. Oh my god, see you later, sir. G is good and gone.
Yeah, they're setting that up so well. I mean, we've seen it obviously with the Legion Commander quite a few times, where you just get the duel, you get an easy arrow, but they're using the call to essentially away from the creep wave far enough so that you're still getting your spins, but you're not blocking the arrows, and that's really, really strong for this side of Vega. But we're going to see with that Observer Ward Vision near the shop, Sioma caught out, and we'll just
walk away.
Walk right through.
Yeah, no even extra move speed to help. He just quickly beelines it north and will avoid the kinetic field here. And will allow King R to sweep in and kind of get the vision game back their way into the ancient camp, taking out that pesky little sentry. But Vega had already got one they needed from that side. And we'll continue to truck on. Iceberg continues to work on his ags as we touch base with the rest of the itemization here. We have FNG who's currently stocking out Ghost Chick at the moment. Ghost Chick who has just picked up his Vlads now. Will offer the extra bit of utility and survivability for his team. But a proper chrono on the back of their Eclipse, their Omni game. Empire still have all of that team fight to work with here. They make a push bottom lane. They know that Ghost Chick's not here, so I was curious to see if Vega try to make something happen while there's going to be no chrono to worry about, but no opportunity will be there at the moment for Vega.
Yep, Blade Mail coming out in the Axe now, and that's going to be a really nice way to clean up this Juggernaut really early. If he doesn't get support from like the Kunka's Realm or something like that, it's actually going to be really easy for G to just kind of kill himself on his own sword, the traditional samurai way. Like it's great that he's using this cosmetic because there's a very good chance of Seppuku coming out if he's not in the wrong spot. Aloha Dance also could get inflicted upon pretty heavily by this Blade Mail, but he's a little bit tankier and his damage isn't as direct as this Juggernaut. Unless the Blade Mail or the Eclipse is active, then you're in trouble.
Could be something that catches them by the surprise if they're not ready for it. Empire segue themselves into the bottom lane to make sure they push down this tier 2, should be able to get it with relative ease. And we'll quickly hustle back to the top lane to try to slow the roll there of Vega, but Vega have already gotten their tier 1, quickly leap out. They do manage to catch the glimpse. It will be for Mag. He pops his new Blade Mail, but without help nearby, which will always be in the form of an arrow on Ghost Chick. Then FXG moves in. They are going to be able to get the face of point. It looks like potentially from behind, but the boat does fly forward. It will be enough to help keep him alive. Vega now have to fully retreat. They're still able to kind of save Mag, though. They get in there, and they escort out, saving Private Mag a success for Vega.
Yeah, operation successful, and they will just be able to walk away with that. The Aghanim Scepter, the big pickup on the Mirana. She's been building her way towards that for a long time. Essentially, she has like 3,000 gold that's been useless now, but turning into the Aghanim Scepter, suddenly
jump that call right on top of G. He just got back to the lane. He thought that all this funny business was done. No, it is not. They get him, and they get another. Double kills coming out as they get a double dunk with the Kunkka follow-up.
I am very afraid for Empire at this point in time. Vega are not only on a tear, but they are in the perfect position with their items and with their level trajectory to just close this one out within the next 15 minutes. They are able to get so many kills so quickly, whether through arrows, the double star storm, these echo saber hits. Like they have so many ways of dealing the damage really quickly, and then Culling Blade after Culling Blade, they're able to finish them off. This axe is the executioner, and really, it's Vega that signed the death warrant. Like they are able to collectively just do so much damage so quickly that it is going to be very easy for Mag to not only initiate, but to finish the job.
So what do you do if you're Empire at this point? You know, you're in a situation where you got to, I guess, you know, force to hold out, but you also got to avoid the kind of pressure, a roaming Ricky, a Mag waiting in the dark to make his blink strike. Like, are you just hoping for any sort of stall tactic at this point to get your Luna and to get your Jug in more of a prime position?
It's very difficult. One thing that's very important is getting good vision out, getting observer sentry combos where you think the Riki's going to be moving. If Riki sees where the fight's going to take place 10 seconds before it does, then it's so easy for the Axe, the Mirana, to get in position for it. But if you see the Riki instead, you either jump him or you disengage from a precarious position, and that's very, very important. But beyond that, you see that the Juggernaut's going to go for Manta. G can kind of split push lanes with that. He won't be at risk, but his illusions will, and that will allow him to get farm and get pressure out on the map.
For now, though, smoked up and on the prowl. Empire looking to try to take this game back in a way from where Vega have shifted it. As they go all the way towards this bottom lane, a deep dive commitment here in hopes of getting a sweet and tasty target on FN. They lead in, they're going to get the chrono off right now. They see from the outskirts, able to get full Blade Fury damage. And plenty of work done to be able to take down the base Ben, and they're not done. Go right inside for the base. They're not going to find Anyone there?
They have to be very careful here. I think this is a perfect buyback opportunity for the Sven. He has it.
Arrow onto Aloha Dance. Beautiful connection from behind. Nothing to be made of it, though.
The big thing is Sven doesn't have TP. He TP'd bottom to farm that, so he actually doesn't have for 30 seconds. If he buybacks, he actually has to run with maybe Warcry all the way to the fight. That's the only thing that's stopping them from just jumping this right now.
There's the bag. It's going to catch Aloha Dance. The arrow falls will be there. Do they have enough first? He pops his blade mail. He's going to get a false promise. Try to go in for the dunk. It's not going to be necessary. They won't be able to bring down Aloha Dance off that. And now they look for FNG. Hides inside the trees. Mag will be going down, and they will get the Ricky. Here's Empire. And as corny as it sounds, they are certainly looking to strike back. They head in. Rax is now exposed. They go right for the easier target. The range Rax is going to be first to drop. And that's all they'll take.
I can't believe they didn't buy back the Sven there. I mean, yes, it's obvious because he's running all the way to the fight. It's about like an 8-second delay from the fountain to actually get in there if you're not popping Warcry, but it's so important that you have that extra damage there. I mean, they could absolutely destroy that fight with the Sven. So buying back saves your Rax, saves anything, but they felt so confident with the Axe Marana combo that they went in 4v5, and as a result, they do end up losing their range Rax. They do end up losing 2 critical heroes, and Empire are just walking away, washing their hands of this, and feeling much better than they were 10 minutes ago. I mean, look at the graph.
Yeah, definitely gets the game much back closer to a more even position. In fact, a 2K advantage at the moment here for Empire. For the sake of Vega and the integrity of their base, it's only one ranged rack, so it's not anything to really kind of sweat over. But definitely something they're going to have to take note of, be a bit more cautious of. Meanwhile, deep inside, Iceberg getting a bit frisky here with Empire. Looks like he might have put himself into too precarious of a situation and will lose his own life.
He thought he could just go solo on the Void. He does get a nice little Starstorm action. I think an arrow was involved, but in the end, he just ends up fighting that one as the quick time walk saves the Void, and it allows them to turn it instead onto her. So now Roshan, easy peasy, with no arrows in the pit. They don't really have to be afraid of anything, and they're just going to go in. If this is contested, this is going to be a very quick eclipse and a very quick demolish of Vega's entire lineup.
We were just saying, like, not even 5 minutes ago that we were a bit nervous for Empire, where they were in this game, and suddenly they're the ones on top.
That smoke movement going in from, they were kind of running around the jungle, but they made their movement. They were able to find out the Sven while 3 members of Vega were in the Radiant jungle, and that just turned so much on its head. While Vega still had that damage to absolutely decimate a fight, right now Empire just have so many tools at their disposal. They have the Aegis for pushing, they've already got the Rax down, they just have so many ways to take the action on the dire side of the map, whereas Vega are the ones forced to clump up, forced to be afraid of whether or not their next initiation will connect the way they need it to.
Allies disappear.
Empire now looking to let up. Mag jumps in though, connection with the call, and then Static Storm, both flies forward. He's okay for now, but the Purifying Flames will be able to finish him off. Jump into the Gochi, gets a nice 2-man chrono here. They are going to force out a false promise onto Iceberg to try to keep him alive. Begin to disrupt the Purifying Flames to double up that regen and keep him alive. Looks like it could be good enough. Keeps the same life here. They burst down the creeps, and now it's Vega running past the river. Arrow fly. That guy's connection right there. Will make moves onto the Kunkka. They followed up with a stun. Nicely there from Aloha Dance as he pops out the Eclipse, hoping to get some big nuke damage, but will end up losing his Aegis here. Vega awaits the second life. King R right there. Not enough mana, no cooldowns to really help out, so that means that Aloha Dance will quickly go down with his second life here. Vega not going to be able to find a follow-up target, but will be able to claim this Tier 1 tower.
And this is what I expected Vega to be capable of, but Empire, just with the fact that there was that a quick push against them, the quick pickoff that they did not expect, and the unwillingness of the Sven to buy back, suddenly, it kind of gave us some doubt. But end of the day, they take a really good fight. They do get a lot of damage against their barracks. It's only down to 300 now because they spent so much time out on the battlefield, but I think they're happy about it as a whole. That Rax will regen, that HP will come back, and they were able to do so much work with that first charge of BKB. Now, I want to talk about the item build on the Sven here, because obviously he's got a BKB in his inventory, means he doesn't have a Blink Dagger, and we kind of just see him, like, for the most part, just running in there, waving his ridiculously large sword around, but not actually hitting anything. But in that case, Luna tried to turn the fight with her Eclipse, and as a result, all they had to do was just spread out and let Sven do his thing. He's got Echo Saber slow, he's got the BKB up, so he just runs at her, beams do nothing, and he's able to gun her down. So, in this case, the BKB definitely paid off, but he has to get that blink. He has to make up for his mobility issues, otherwise he'll never get to the target.
Yep. I'm sure it's going to be up on the docket here for him soon, as he accumulates about 2k gold towards that. We'll have to see if Vega are going to be considering waiting out for that extra mobility tool for Sven before making any additional advancement, or they're going to go sooner before that. And are also perched up on the other side here after farming through their cautious little ancient stack. Find themselves in a pretty similar situation as the game is right back even with where it was before. And though the score indicator at the top doesn't really reflect it, it is Vega who did claim the Game 1 victory of this 2-game series. So, looking to walk away. The 2 points would put them already at the top of their group, I'd imagine, since we just started.
Yeah.
That's a good position to be in, since only the top one of each group will be advancing on.
So here we go. We're going to be seeing the smoke action here in the Radiant Jungle, but the Dire will look to get involved. They do have the Blink Dagger on the Sven, and they do. It just comes down to who spell connects first.
Yeah.
Chrono or Call.
Execution here. The first one will be an X. Puts him right back into it. To jump in. Will be a nice Chrono for 3, but up over the other side, Kingar will get instantly blown up and taken out with the help of Riggy there. Aloha Dance eating a lot of pressure from FN. Tries to run back away, but not going to be able to make it out. Looks like it is going to be Vega on this one. G, though, goes for the TP, will be able to make it back and away. But 2-for-1 trade right now. Favor for Vega.
So the Chrono comes out first, but the follow-up isn't there because of a beautiful arrow across that. I mean, obviously, he's arrowing straight to a neutral camp. There's like a small percentage chance that he just hits a creep and wastes half his control, but because he connected on the Disruptor, there's no kinetic static follow-through on that 4-man Chrono, and Empire can't get in to seal it. So they lose their Oracle, and Empire lose the Luna, more importantly. So that is going to be delaying her BKB. That's giving more to Vega, and I don't even think they care about that range rack missing anymore. They are in such a great position now.
Let's see if they can close this one out or not. They look to take a fight to the mid lane. It's going to be on to King R. They'll quickly do work, and they get a second follow-up with the help of the stun and some cleave work. They will get both the Kunkka and King R. Supports go down from Empire here, and Vega confidently still stand in the mid lane as they approach this tier 2.
And I guess that goes back to the buyback decision of FN. He didn't buy back. They lost the range racks, but at this point he has so many items that it doesn't matter. He's got the BKB, Echo Saber, and Blink, and he realized that, yeah, it sucks to lose a Raxel, it sucks to lose a few extra heroes because I'm not there, but it's much more important for me to have that economy, have the money to carry the game on my shoulders, and that's why he saved it. So, in the end, FN possibly making the right call here as he is able to build himself up massively to the top net worth of 14k.
He's huge. I mean, he's at a serious peak right now, and for now they're taking strong advantage of it. But is it critical for them at this point to be able to close the game out within a certain window of time, preventing Empire from making yet another potential comeback play? Is it in their best interest to end this one sooner than later if you're Vega?
If G had gone for a Battle Fury build-up, which again he never does, I feel like the fact that he can farm so quickly might give Vega a little bit of pause to let this one stretch out, but as it is, the Great Cleave allows the Axe to clean things up quickly. Echo Saber usually just 2 shots everything that he goes up against, so he's got a very quick path to his 6th slot, and I don't think the Juggernaut does. So, in general, I think that Vega in a pretty good spot. Berserker's Call, it might not be as flashy as Chronosphere, but it's actually one of the most underrated abilities. Like, between its synergy with Blade Mail and the fact that the armor no longer reduces the damage you reflect, and the fact that it's only a 10-second cooldown, which is obviously just 2 seconds less than Blink Dagger, it's such a good way of just jumping into the fight repeatedly and smashing the oppositions. And of course, like Chronosphere, it goes through BKB. So I think that Vega are actually in a pretty good spot no matter how long this game goes.
Playing just the stagnant farming game, obviously not going to be in the best interest here for Empire, but who knows, maybe they could pull out another one of those crafty smoke plays to get the momentum back their way or not, help benefit them. That deep, committed jump onto Aloha Dance, which led to them taking down the ranged racks, but we'll have to see if those kind of opportunities are going to present themselves or not for Empire, because all the meanwhile, Vega got what they need right now, and the damage is only going to come much more fierce with the Crystallis now in hand here for FM and a Daedalus in the future. his hits are going to be huge and fat. I mean, we could see another situation like game number 1. Blink before you know it, a good lead-in call to a Sven cleaving destruction.
Absolutely.
Could be the scary.
One wombo combo. But right now, Empire seem to be aware of that possibility. They're actually going to be going here onto Icebreak to clinch the lead, bring him about the same location. Wow. But since they're willing to commit both Static Storm and the Chronosphere, they are going to find this kill.
It costs them quite a bit, but they will be able to bring Lady Mirana down.
I love this play, though. I actually think they can make this happen. 4 versus 5, with so much on cooldown, they can make this fight work for them instead.
Oh, Mag makes the jump for the Kunkka, who had been spotted out there from FNG. Allows them to at least make it a 1-for-1 trade. But the rest of Empire have already made a hasty retreat to avoid any other trouble.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it's Empire's best move to just get out as soon as possible, to cut their losses. They only lost to Kunkka for the Mirana. It was actually a favorable trade for them.
Oh, yeah.
And because Roche couldn't have spawned yet, now they just went into the timer where it could possibly have spawned. They're not able to take an objective off of their kill. So in the end, it's going to be 20 more seconds before Roshan comes up, and we're going to see who gets eyes on it first.
In the meantime, frantic farm is had from both sides to itemize appropriately for it here.
How do you farm frantically, Dakota? What's that look like?
Frantic farm? I mean, I'm looking at
I'm
Ghost
just thinking like Harvest Moon Farmville, you're planting corn. Oh my gosh, gotta get that Harvest
Ghost is like, he's hitting creeps, he's time walking to one camp to another here. It's like you couldn't hit him fast enough. He's making sure he gets the job done before the spawn's back it again. Like, they are a team on a mission right here. It definitely feels a bit more hostile from the side of Empire at the moment, but they're looking to close things out. They are coming from losing the one game against the Broodmothers, a team that they were not expecting to be really dropping any games against, and already being down one game against Vega here. They're hoping to make a chance into playoffs. They need to close this one out with a win, and, well, avoiding trouble that is approaching here. Vega, oh no, they see G, and they knock him in the noggin with a stun, and he goes down just as fast as he walks up. He's got about 70 seconds, otherwise buyback will be necessary here. They're trying to get Mipochka as well, and they will! Double kill for FN. And if Vega can turn this lane into a solid push on forward after taking this tier 2, I don't know if buybacks are going to be necessary, but they might need to consider it. Meanwhile, Axe, insta-kill, taking out Disruptor here. I kind of missed the mark on that one, but catches out the lingering support. Takes him out of the equation too, Blaze. Suddenly 3 from Empire just gone.
Crazy jump in. They're just so aggressive in this position. They see Aloha dance up top, and they're like, okay, well, with eyes on him, let's go jump bottom, get the cover, and then go under the tier 3 for the Juggernaut. Great call action. Vega just cleaning house, and now the Empires are going to be responding pretty quickly. That's the one thing with lower level heroes, is that they're going to be coming back quick, but I still think Vega are very happy to just chunk them down and move on. Control the entire Radiant jungle. Let's see if they're getting any good wards down, though. It looks like they didn't have any observers left in the tank, so while their ward vision and their aggressive vision is usually something that is really good, in this case Vega are going to have to tone it down a little bit. They don't get much for their kills other than another smile on their face and a little bit more gold in their pocket.
And a Roche, it looks like, too. They double back for it, and FN already goes to work right now. We don't see Empire making any sort of approach that way, so even more to benefit here, Vega, with their hasty move to the bottom.
Yeah, they're going to smoke up for it, but it's a little bit too late. They were hoping maybe it's spawning right about now. It will drop, and Mirana will pick up the Aegis, which, of course, as she extends the fight, more Starstorms come out. That second life is going to really pay off.
And they head to the high ground to see if maybe Vega are feeling frisky after picking up the Aegis. But bottom lane, it's Mags who's going to be in trouble here. Gets some moves and some damage onto G, who's going to be forced to double back. Mag pops his own BKB and runs towards the arms of his team here. Still going to get caught up on the high ground right there. Gets off the call. Arrow jump in does happen. Static Storm is going to be dropped right on top of his ice commitment in. And will lose the Aegis just after he picks it up. Mag is able to leak away the back of a false promise, but he still eats way too much damage. It will be going down. Iceberg back on his second life. Hops back, leaps out. Picks up the Starstorm here while Aloha Dance is going to be able to try to nuke Sayoma. Can't finish him off. On the other side, Ghoshik drops down the Chronosphere, is able to lock down FN, but FN still gets the job done, taking out the Disruptor. Now goes back to the other core. Aloha Dance. Torrent's there to slow him down, and an X can't stop the stun, though, and they will be able to burst him down. It looks like it's going to be Vega still get the better end of this fight. All, again, led in by Mag, just kind of being a little bit far from home and drawing the enemy in.
In the end, though, I mean, they popped the Aegis and they killed the Mirana again, so it's actually not that bad, even though they did lose the Luna. The big thing that I gotta say for Empire in that fight is they kited the spend so well. They're able to get so many just random stuns on him, ways to control him, keep him away from his target, and he was a little bit hesitant to use the BKB. So he got caught up in multiple things, the torrents and X marks, and once he popped the BKB, they just chrono him and lock him down. And it's only the Riki that actually gets the effective damage out onto Aloha Dance. So in the end, FN, he's got to be willing to pop that BKB as soon as possible, because more and more we're going to see him get controlled in these fights, and Empire try to dance around him.
Empire will see what they could do with that bit of momentum that they've built here. And G goes right back to work towards the top lane. But what a back and forth game, back and forth series already as it's been. Vegas still hold their net worth advantage, and look at this, FN goes for the Shadow Blade buildup. I don't know if this is to lead on forward to really break off any passives or not.
See, the thing is, you've already got a Riki and a Murana, so you know that there's going to be papered in sentries, there's going to be gem action. I mean, obviously the Riki has had a gem for a very long time this game, but in general, I feel like it's just going to be one of those games where you're not going to be able to get initiation out of the Shadow Blade, so I assume it's for like a Silver Edge.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, like, what's the Silver Edge for, though?
I mean, it reduces damage, that's a big thing, so that, like, a Luna pops Eclipse, you hit her with Silver Edge once, and it doesn't matter nearly as much. But, in the end, she also has two great passives, especially in the Moonblade. Muting that would be, or breaking that, sorry, would be quite effective. So, it's not the traditional counter to but I could see its use. It's just giving more mobility because you get the bonus movement speed, and while they might be able to see you thanks to detection, you can still close distance on your target and get some good kills.
We'll see if it ends up paying off here for FN, as it is still heavy pressure on the side of Empire here as they muscle back this mid lane. It has been FNG who's been the friskiest one here.
Oh, they get
they do get the call for Aloha Dance. It leads to the arrow. A boat will come out. Happy pops his BKB. He's looking to make it back away here. They're trying to finish him off. FNG can't quite get the job done. They will be able to bring out the Disruptor here. But man, so close yet so far from being able to get the Aloha Dance. Luna will cost the BKB and the boat, but
yeah, the boat buff, obviously the saving grace for Luna. She's still like 400 HP. She's been in the fountain for like 10 seconds bathing, but you just can't wash that rum off.
Yeah,
at least not quickly. So, yeah, it's one of those things where just all this burst damage that's built up out of Vega's lineup is countered by one simple thing: a hell of a good boat. And Maposh got one there, so they minimize their losses. They do lose the Disruptor, but they could have lost the Void and the Luna right there, and they didn't. So, in the end, another nice exchange, but another BKB charge used, and yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game, man. I like. It's been back and forth. Obviously, the fact that they took the racks down bottom really early on looked pretty good for Empire. But in the end, Vega's lineup is still really clean in terms of ease of execution.
Yeah,
is really good at getting right up in certain targets' face, like the Luna. And up until now, she hasn't really been able to deal with that. But now, not only does she have a BKB during her Eclipse to prevent Blade Mail from killing her off, but you've also got this Butterfly about to come out, which Sven isn't really prepared for. He's going Silver Edge when she's going Butterfly. And that's not going to match up too well when she's up in the thick of things.
And she's not the only one going Butterfly too. It looks like, you know, G's picking up one for himself. Yeah. So
I think this is why you don't see Shadow Blade on Sven. It's just because you only have so many item slots. You really want your Blink, Echo Saber, your crit. In this case, you have to go BKB. And that, if you have boots, that means you have one item slot left. And it's not for a Silver Edge, it's for an MKB. Solar Crest worth of evasion, but like, is that 35% for a Butterfly? Like, he's not even going to be hitting 2/3 of the time, and it's going to be very frustrating for him if he's missing the critical hits.
Is there anything they can do right now? They just got that BKB used on Aloha Dance. I don't know if they have enough push on any of these lanes to be able to utilize the 40 seconds they got, but it does feel like, you know, they're just going to have to accept it for what it is.
I mean, obviously Chronosphere is probably the longest cooldown in this game, but I feel like they still have to let the clock tick on this God Strength and make sure that that comes back up too. Actually, the Eclipse is a little bit longer, but I feel like the Chronosphere might be easier to exploit. Anyways, in this case, Sven still has to kind of rest on his laurels, get his strength back into him, and recharge a bit, and then they'll definitely look for some more pressure, at least getting some more wards up, because right now, the word game, as opposed to what it's been, is not that great. And this is weird to me because the Riki has had this gem, has not lost this gem, and has survived for the better part of this game.
Yeah.
So he's been around, but we see exactly one good ward from Vega, and that's pretty crushing considering how in the lead they've been up to this point. So I guess that part of that goes back to the fact that they're up against now 3 Invis heroes. A Riki, Shadowblade Sven, and the Moonlight Shadow for 5. They put out a lot of sentries, and you know you're going to happen to D-ward every once in a while if you just put them in the right spots.
Yeah.
So it's quite unfortunate because obviously you want this vision, you want to be able to suppress, and you want to be able to prevent farming. As we see Koshka unable to keep farming as we see like 3 heroes jump on him on the wrong side of the railroad tracks.
All right, almost taking the gank on that one, just being so deep to see where the movement is from Vega, and just forced in a situation where he has to take what's left over because you have a Jug, you have a Luna who's kind of taking the primary easy access farm across the map, leaves you supports with very little to kind of work with as far as breadcrumbs go. So Koga ventures a bit out to kind of find the farm, finds the enemies, will take that shot and just kind of move on with his life. And back to the grindstone here for the others here. G has still Eagle Song in hand, 2.6k. These butterflies are going to be online soon. And as already mentioned, you know, someone like Sven is not going to have any sort of way of really powerhousing the damage in against either of them.
I don't know, man. I feel like this butterfly just trumps everything that Vega can throw at both the Luna as well as the Juggernaut. Once these items picked up, even if they have to buy out for it, as they will, it's still like if they just go with 5 with these butterflies, there's very little that I can see Vega doing to prevent this. E-Blade will be one thing, and that will be coming out on the Mirana soon. And you're actually going to see on the Courier 2 Javelins. This Sven wants to make up for his mistake. Is he just going to sell his Shadowblade outright?
Might have to.
Buys it, 5 minutes later sells it off, picks up the real item he was supposed to pick.
Yeah, that's when you know mistakes might have been made in some of the choices, but...
There's also a mind game to it. You just got both of them to invest so heavily into butterflies, 2 butterflies being purchased because they see a Shadowblade. And then the second you see the butterflies, you just swap it up and pick up the MKB instead. Technically, they've lost out on the economy. Empire wasted more gold if they're relying on that to save them.
It's a good pricey mind game, I guess, but when you make a point like that, it does make sense if it ends up working out to the benefit here. I mean, he does have the MKB, but he keeps the Shadowblade.
Yeah. Echo Saber gone. His attack speed is not too shabby. Echo Saber I still think is better in burst scenarios, but they're looking to... They're already really good in burst scenarios. They don't need to worry about that. They need to worry about those prolonged fights where Sven's getting kited to bed and they need to just kind of wall up somebody. I can see it working. You want the movement speed from the Shadowblade. Like, he's getting kited so hard. He finds a lot of value in that. I can appreciate it, but at the same time, it does mean that you're selling the Echo, and you've got to really punch a hole through somebody, especially one of these butterfly carriers.
Mirana pops the Moonlight Shadow here, as they were hoping to maybe catch up someone from Empire here in their own jungle front, but not the case this time. Oh, double blinks through. Empire frisky to hopefully make a catch there for Iceberg, but are going to be coming just a bit short. And we'll head on out. A little bit of footsie play does continue here from both sides, knowing that the next big fight could be the one to be the beginning of the end right here.
The main argument I have to make about this Shadowblade, I want to talk about it because it's such like, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, this kind of item pickup is so awkward on the hero because usually you'll just see, if you really want move speed, grab a Sanji Yasha. Like, that's 16% constantly rather than 20% and a short burst. So, I don't know. Let's see, Ghost go in, and this could be a very good fight for Empire.
They get the Max Nora lockdown. They're looking to go for Iceberg next. He gets a quick false promise. I don't know whether they have to sustain to be able to keep him alive here. They'll try to do so. Leads back in a well. Meanwhile, Ghostic, though, now eating the heavy pressure here. Still going to be fine as he heads back into the base. Iceberg looks to make chase. No one to go down yet. It could be Iceberg, though. On the kinetic field, going to be forced to follow the Ghost Scepter. Runs back down, back jumps right back in. They get the quick dump. They pick out the Disruptor. Nice trap on them. Double torrent. Eclipse flies. Aloha Dance begins to go to work here. Comes after Mag, gets the Swift double, and already Vega look to make their retreat. They've lost FNG, but it's a 2-for-1 trade. As Vega, a bit weak and wounded here, still stand in the bottom lane. And eventually we'll pull off.
Man, if there was just a little bit more damage out of FN, that would have been absolutely amazing. The Luna ends up living with like 100 HP, makes it back to well, buys a salve, and gets back into it with that big eclipse. So while it could have been just like racks with the Juggernaut and the Luna both falling apart, Empire, they get the chrono they needed, and they get just enough survivability on Aloha Dance to walk away. And I mean, now he's probably going to realize that, because that was the unveiling of the MKB, by the way. That's why Vega went for this big jump, is because suddenly this Monkey King bar really hits hard, and it's a very unexpected amount of damage coming out against Aloha Dance. But now that he sees that there's an MKB, all he has to do is flutter. He'll just pop the active, and he'll kite to spend that way, and it still provides its merits.
I don't know. What do you think? Was that a good enough debut of the MKB for Vega?
I mean, it's an item that he's going to have the rest of this game, so it's nice to get the Juggernaut out of it, but end of the day, this Roshan matters more. Luckily, they're already in the pit with God Strength active, and I don't think Empire can get... They might be able to clean up the aftermath, but right now it looks like Roshan's going to be going down first.
Yeah, they already are well underway with the damage, and Arrow helps set it up, and soon to go down here. Empire close, but not close enough to be able to pull out any sort of contention, so Vega will be able to walk away with that extra life here. And we'll be able to casually have a bit of a reset. It's Iceberg who does pick it up.
Okay, the courier's coming in. I'm like, that's a lot of gold to just leave on the ground there, I figured. But in the end, E-Blade comes out for the Murano along with this Aegis, and now she'll just be that glass cannon. Force BKBs out really early in the fight, and she'll be able to put out her own way of damaging and breaking down these cores. So, again, I still think that if Empire play really well around the Ghost Ship, that they should be able to deal with this burst. But you can't always, that's not always going to be the case. There are going to be plenty of situations where just Mirana and Axe together can isolate a target, kill them off really quickly before their allies can respond. Also want to note that there was a gem swap over. While Ricky has had a gem for a very long time, finally Miposhka picks it up for himself and is using it to take out what few wards are left for Empire. Or for Vega.
Yeah. Not too late either to try to get your hand into the vision game, that's for sure, if you're Empire. Now finally feeling confident enough to be able to push past the river. They're having their own little bit of a ward war here, trying to maintain control on the Vega front.
And FNG does have a here, so he knows what he's up against, and really, like, the second he saw those words, he's like, oh, I actually don't want to go there by myself. But he's got backup. They've got control back over their jungle, and now they got to make their move back towards the Radiant. Again, they have Aegis on the clock on Mirana. Let's see what they can do with it.
And for Vega, I imagine the best case scenario is being able to lead him with a huge fight and close this one out, but the approach they have to make here is not the easiest one, to say the least. So bottom lane
Allies disappear.
seems where they want to kind of get the job done. Aloha Dancing Company already there. Moonlight Shadow here. Here comes Iceberg. Here comes Mag. They're looking for some trouble, but are they going to be outnumbered? Arrow is going to be a swing and a miss, and they already get the Yules for Mag, which leads to a chrono. Not the best approach here for Vega. They might have to take this one on the chin. They will lose Mag very quickly. It costs them a chrono and an eclipse for it.
Oh, but they're going to get Iceberg.
They get the nice pullback. Iceberg is able to leap away and out from the kinetic field and runs away. Meanwhile, FN, he pops his God Strength here, and he's looking for a fight. Shadow Blades looks to run in, trying to get the reverse approach right now. Oh! Connected with two! Will FN do it again and cleave right through the team? He's trying to, and now tries to man him. He goes into an Omni Slash. They have the false promise. It tries to keep him alive for now. Is it going to be good enough? He got to get one last shot in. He gets it. He actually lives. With about 100 life, he's still good. Pulls out the stun and gets Joystick as well. Triple kill for FN. He does it again, Blaze.
The most amazing part about that is every single one of those heroes he was going on had Kunkka's Rum on them. That Luna was man-fighting him with Satanic and Kunkka's Rum, and he was still taking her down. That was absolutely incredible. Crit upon crit upon crit. With this Moonshard speed, he's able to just obliterate them, and now they're going to be taking down the mid lane. It seems like no matter what Empire do, and FN's going to be able to trump it. It was in game one with that anti-mage building himself up to it, a massive value, and now this Sven, 28,000 net worth, and even a Luna under the best conditions cannot handle his Sven.
Again, 0 to 60, what feels like a heartbeat here, and suddenly they're pushing in for the tier 3s, trying to get the rat. Here comes what could be the final hurrah of Empire, though. They try to stand and hold. They lose G at the drop of a hat, and he has no buyback now. can't really hold his own. They're going to take what is absolutely necessary from the side of Vega. They get that one melee rack, they go right for the bottom. They see an opportunity to make the jump for King R, and it looks like they will be able to take it. Is the Tal going to be thrown in, and will Empire be swept 2-0 here by Vega? It looks like that could be the case, Blaze, as they claim the bottom set of racks too.
Yeah, Luna had the buyback, but didn't have the time to react after she had already been called, and suddenly 2 lanes of racks are completely obliterated, and Vega have certainly minimized the casual loss of the range racks like 20 minutes ago. I mean, you look at this graph, there was a tiny little dip at the end of the tunnel for Empire, and then it just gets shattered. We see that small 2,000 gold advantage is now a 28,000 net worth disadvantage, and Vega are in a commanding position to 2-0 their nemesis, Team Empire.
Not looking to go out yet without a fight. They'll have to hope for what could be a bit of a YOLO/desperation play here if you're Empire to pull this one back. Now standing strong, Vega with all sorts of new delicious resources here. Money yet to even be spent. We're now seeing some of these spend, picks up his own butterfly to take it right back to Empire now. Iceberg still sits on about 6.5k, so they have yet to show their true firepower even, so.
Funny little thing is that it seems like Mag has just completely forgotten there's a Vanguard on the core here. Like, he bought a Shiva's Guard without selling it. Like, he's just, yeah, 2,100 gold, who needs it? Like, I'm massive for a spend. Like, this is an off-lane spend at 20k net worth, sandwiched between the Luna and the Juggernaut, where anyone would like to be. And this is interesting. This is Vega at such a position in the game where they could walk down any lane. The spend is just too powerful. And now they've got Dagon on Mirana. And E-Blade, Agadim's Mirana, allowed to burst down anybody she so chooses. Empire have to be just shaking in their little booties.
Now with Vega and all these nice new sweet toys, looking to close things out. We'll have to see if Empire have anything about them here to kind of get something going. And here it is. They smoke, and it looks like they're trying to run right towards the mid lane where Iceberg once was, but they'll make the full rotation all the way up and over. Mag between them. Now they'll cross pass. It looks like with Iceberg. They're going to catch with the Chrono here. And they're going to need some help. FN pops out. The God Strike, he's waiting to jump in, and there he goes. Will not be able to get a proper target. Settles instead for Aloha Dance, and the rest of the company makes a move for G. They will be able to dunk him down. He is out for good. Aloha Dance, though, commits a full eclipse here. They're going to be keeping it their investment away to keep FN alive with the help of that false promise. Is it going to be enough? He's still good. He goes down. They will be able to finish off what he had started and taking down Aloha Dance. A 3-for-2 advantage. And it could be 4 here. Nice 2-man torrent. And they'll be able to get another takedown, making it a 3-for-3 trade. Not done yet, though. Here comes Vega. Running up and over. Looking to find King R. And he is going to be going down. Makes it a 4-for-3 trade. Vega's still the team. At the top, they lose both their cores. And Buyback City comes out now.
They know the Juggernaut's buyback is absolutely uncool. They want to go and fight a 5 versus 4, but Riki's actually holding it. Doesn't have BO2, so I'm not exactly sure. I guess just because he can't mobilize, he's going to hold on to it. But
in hits the deck. Kunkka hits the deck. That means the gem's going to be hitting the deck. And quickly the Disruptor will be going down. Double kill for Iceberg on this one. And they go right back into the grind here. The top tier 3 will be taken apart. And FN begins to grind the rack up for Mag. Boat will be there. Is it going to be enough to save Aloha Dance? They don't care about no stinking rum. They're looking to muscle through the lady. Can they get it? Yes, they can. Mag dunks it through with a big exclamation point, and that will be the game. It's going to be Vega who closed this 2-game series out 2-0.
Absolutely incredible. By the end of it, Sven had his own butterfly in all this here, but it was just this battle of the titans between this Luna and the Sven. The Luna always having the Cook's rum on her, and the Sven having the Oracle behind him with that false promise. And unfortunately, he didn't have lifesteal, so he couldn't live throughout the exchange, but he set up for the kill. Because the big thing here is that Luna is a target that damages the entire team. But if Sven isolates her and only fights her, the glaives don't matter, the Eclipse is minimized. Like, the Luna wasn't able to play in the position she wanted to in each and every game. And that's the big thing, is each and every fight, as great as the boats were, the
fall to pieces. The life we used to know, but here's a new start for everyone to take part. So come together, it's time to make it right. Every father and mother, every sister and brother, we won't go until you get it. We don't want your money, we don't want your fame. You might think we're lonely, 'cause we don't play a game. But we don't want your fancy, crazy stupid lazy weekdays in the sun. Well, we will build our own schools, but we live by our own rules. One body and soul. Well, body and soul. We don't want your money, we don't want your fame. You might think we're lonely, 'cause we don't play a game. But we don't want your fancy, crazy, stupid, lazy weekdays in the sun. Well, we don't want your money, we don't want your fame. You might think we're lonely, 'cause we don't play a game. But we don't want your fancy, crazy, stupid, lazy weekdays in the sun. Well, we will build our own schools, we live by our own rules. One body and soul. Well, we will build our own schools, we live by our own rules. One body and soul. Well, one body and soul. Well, one body and soul.
Far beyond the known, no fallen age you can atone. A paradise you used to call your own. Stolen, then turned against us all alone. Until correction, you will I believe. When all I hear is lies, they have to know I won't comply. How can we remain so blind? Falling faster till we fly and cease to resist from high. Then our enemies will die. Oh, we are ready for the deception.
On our huge, delicious $5,000. $5,000, Blaze. in Dota terms, that used to be a lot of money.
That used to be.
That
I
used to
remember
be-
teams would play like 2 months straight for 15 grand, and that would be like the one of the top premier tournaments of the scene.
Today, you can't buy a mouse pad with $5,000 in Dota. If you're an
Certainly
esports
cannot.
player, I mean, they're like, excuse me, this mouse pad needs diamonds in it. This is not going to be enough of a prize pool. But we still have a lot of very scrappy, fun, tier 2, tier 3 kind of teams who are fighting their lives in these games. I mean, these games so far have been like awesome, hour-long,
Absolutely.
cleaving best games that you would expect to see in the big show. So we have been in for a certain treat. But
Radiant team.
what is your early impression here? We have Kaipi and Elements Pro Gaming. One team, Elements probably, you know, not many people know a lot about unless you're really invested in the European scene and you kind of get a grip of where they are. And Kaipi, a very familiar name. This team has hosted names like
10 seconds
Arteezy
remaining.
and company. Still have Sing Sing there, Bone7 there, but some new additions, including
5
Fluffblaze.
seconds
Absolutely.
remaining.
It's going to be very interesting to see how both lineups work with their newer rosters here. But for those that don't really know Elements Pro Gaming, they're saying, who in the world are these guys? Things just going to stomp them. Well, don't underestimate Elements
Radiant
because
team back.
they have 4 members that are over 7.4k. In fact, Swift Ending himself is 8k. So these guys are fully capable. They might be relatively new in terms of a roster, but they have some firepower when it comes down to just individual talent.
MMR power, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Pub mentality leaches into the pro
seconds
scene, and I do feel like there's some ways that you pick the right heroes, you could just
5
catch a
seconds
tier 1 team
remaining.
completely off guard. So
We can't lie. You know, that's how some of the biggest players got discovered. They just had these big MMR numbers.
Reserve
Teams are
time.
scouting them out, feeling like, hey, how are they going to do? You know, latest on that list, you know, people are questioning if Attacker was going to find a team. We've seen Weehaw. How many others have been able to just kind of make a name for themselves in the pub scene and are walking away with major titles? You know, it's ridiculous.
yeah, so I know Milan personally. I've cast with him a few times, and he used to play on Mind Sanity, and along with Mitch and a couple others. A lot of people know Swift Ending and LeBron from those higher level pubs. If you ever spectate in Dota 2, those guys are going to show up a lot because that's what they do. They grind all day long. So I'm excited to see what they can do now, grinding as a team, scrimming and preparing themselves for the big show. Which, from their perspective, might be a tournament like BTS Series. Obviously, they want to get to the major, and the road starts here. So we'll see what they can bring to the table. But let's talk a little bit about the draft. We've got ourselves Sand King and Disruptor picked up for Kaipi. Just really looking for quick picks, looking for really good team fights, and also I've seen these two heroes a lot of chase potential. Like if you misposition a little bit, let's say the Darkseer actually tries to contest the lane
10
instead of just
seconds
iron shelling
remaining.
from the back line, you're going to be glimpsed, you're going to be punished, and you're going to be
5 seconds
locked in
remaining.
position. So I do think that the abilities like Surge and Leap are not going to be nearly as effective as they
Reserve
normally
time.
would be. And when you get the Blink Dagger up on the Sand King, he can really punish mispositioning as well. So I'm not sure if we're going to see as much dominance as we saw in previous series when it comes to the Sand King off lane, but they're going to have momentum behind them with this draw.
Yeah, but we're seeing some new fresh faces kind of show themselves now. And as you mentioned, you know, with Oracle kind of being taken out of the first phase, you kind of feel a bit more safer getting that trusty Darkseer on your team. But as you were already going into, I mean, Disruptor is like one of those best candidates to get as a follow-up and contest him in the
10
laning phase a bit.
seconds remaining.
I don't know if that's enough to justify Darkseer going right for the jungle or anything or not to make sure he gets a good secured
5
start, but we'll have
seconds
to see. But now, with Kaipi now, competing to this Drow Ranger, they're showing like we're looking to go.
Reserve
We're looking to go
time.
fast. We're going to look to hit hard. You know what though, Blaze? I mean, that was just the natural stigma I would normally say when a Drow Ranger is picked up, but we have been seeing, you know, through TI, through a lot of teams, that they'll get that kind of, what I like to call the insurance policy of a follow-up, teams even committing for something like a Medusa to pair with it. Is that something we could see here with Kaipi, or do you think that maybe it's best for their own particular play style that they take the Drow and they kind of run with that?
Yeah, I'm not too sure how confident Bone would be if he was taking like the position of the mid Medusa. Sing Sing and Bone obviously switching their positions quite frequently from 1 and 2 position. But the big thing here is that if they want to, they are capable with the heroes like Sand King and Disruptor. They could build the fight around that. Either you're doing a
10
really good magical
seconds
damage and
remaining.
control, or you're going to be able to get the Stone Gaze off. Or why not both, one after the other?
5
And
seconds
in that
remaining.
situation, it's going to put out a lot of damage. It's going to be very difficult to deal with. And I think it would be an okay
Reserve
option.
time.
Heck, even against the blinding load of the Keeper of the Light, you might consider like a Mantis style on the Medusa and being able to just stay in the fight and keep that engagement rolling. So I think that in general we could see something along those lines, but at least for now they're not going to show that card. They're going to go ahead, pick up the Nature's Prophet. This is either like a well, I mean, I want to try to say this as unambiguously as possible. This Furion actually could go anywhere. He could be farming the safe lane or the mid lane, depending on who prefers it over the Drow, or he actually could take the off lane, and we could see that rare support Sand King.
Certainly will be benefiting,
5
though, this Nature's
seconds
Prophet from
remaining.
that Drow Aura or in the early laning phase, wherever they decide to place him. You know, it's Bone 7's court,
Reserve
apparently.
time.
I mean, we don't know. We would love to be flies on the wall of what's happening inside the Kaipi, I would suppose, voice server. You got to remember we do have Fluff, who is chiming in with his 160 ping, he said, from the US. He's also used to being the captain and director for his teams, but he will have to probably let Bone 7 take over in that front, so I'm curious about that whole interaction and what they decide to do with that. Response, though, another fresh face that we get to enjoy here. Elements go right for a Spirit Breaker now. Is able to kind of close the gap, gets in the face of the Drow Ranger. Yes, Drow does still have the gust to kind of keep him away, but isn't there something about that interaction between the two? I can't remember.
Gus should still prevent the charge.
Does it still prevent the charge? I thought there was a weird interaction that maybe it doesn't. I guess we'll find out for sure.
We'll definitely find out for sure. But I actually would love to see a 5th pick Phantom Assassin. It's a rare hero that I'll advocate for just because she can fall off once you start dealing with her evasion and such. But actually, in this case, I think that you can rely a little bit on the RNG, the PRD, of just going in with the Spirit Breaker and the PA. And you've got things like the Iron Shell Surge to really allow you to just make that jump, keep the marksmanship off, and to really bring the pain to Kaipi early. A couple of lucky crits, and you'll take a couple of fights that you need to in order to keep your towers alive, because Fury and a Drow will push really quickly. So you need a hero that comes online quickly, but they're going to go with the Lifestealer of all things, and they don't even care. Clicking. Both sides was just like, star, whatever.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Do you think the Lifestealer kind of fits the bill you were asking for?
I like the Infest Bomb potential. If the Spirit Breaker can actually connect with charges, the Infest is amazing. You can also Leap Infest. Theoretically, Marana could then do like 400 burst damage initially with Double Star Storm and with the Infest, but no matter what, I think it comes down to playstyle. I think it comes down to execution. Like we were talking about, it might be difficult to close in position on a few of these targets. Even just a simple glimpse. You catch sight of Spirit Breaker whatsoever, and he's going to glimpse you out. And at that point, you kind of feel like your lineup's a little bit mismatched. But we have the potential of Mitch and Milan, two buddies from a long time past who played on multiple teams together, to double it up in this off lane, to go with the Iron Shell plus... before offlane was a thing, Spirit Breaker, Darkseer was a thing.
Before Earth Spirit, you know, Darkseer. This was the tried and true. Give that Spirit Breaker that spiky, sweet Iron Shell jacket, and he'll go in there and get the job done. And you know, Element's looking to kind of throw it back a bit. I wondered. I mean, you're talking about how Elements, they're a team of players, high MMR, huge pub play. You know, what is it that maybe a team like that can bring to a competitive game now that gives them a certain advantage, like having so much pub talent, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think the willingness to make things happen on the map. One thing that you'll learn as you climb the ladder is just that towers don't fall by themselves, fights don't win themselves. You have to be proactive. You have to make things happen, and especially when you're a higher MMR player carrying lower ones, you have to not only instruct your team carefully, but you have to be willing to do things, to make sacrifices where you have to, and just to get in the thick of it. So I do feel like that pub mentality and any kind of strength through climbing up to 8K and beyond will allow them to say, okay, well, we need to kill this hero before he gets too big, we need to push this tower, and just make sure that you're being involved. And I think involved gaming and involved Dota suits this lineup really well.
You can't just style on people.
Nah.
I mean, you think of a lot of huge pub stars, you're like, this guy's good because he has great mechanics, he finds great farm, and he does some cool plays, and he can style on people. But you get higher and higher, because like I know, when you get higher in the MMR field, real high up there, you got to find the win conditions. You got to find the ways you need to win. You got to find out who you need to bring down to peg and not be a problem for your team. You have to find out who you need to jump. And in most cases, I'm sure they have to learn how to maybe even instruct their team on what they need to do. So I'm anxious to see if that kind of shines through with the playstyle of Elements here, or if a team like Kaipi will be able to kind of, I don't want to say use their celebrity status, but they have big names that we know them to be good players. You know, is it on them? Is it like the pressure on for them to be able to take out a team which maybe most people don't relatively know as well?
Well, I mean, they have their fair share of supporters because of their popularity, but also they have their fair share of criticism. I mean, I saw one comment on Reddit with the more recent Fluff ad that people are saying like, oh, well, now maybe Kaipi can be a tier 2 team. And I thought that was pretty harsh. So I'm like, Kaipi's been a tier 2 team for a long time. What they're looking to do is break through to the point where they could take consistently games off of tier 1 teams and even make it to that full qualification of a major. They have the potential with this roster, and I think they just want to prove that to themselves and to everyone about. So Fluff has played like I think 6 games with the team. They want to push that for what it's worth, and I think they're 6-0 with them so far.
Yeah, he has LAN experience. He's been around the block. He was part of the great run that Liquid had at TI3. He's been in Archon. He was at ESL New York and stuff. And while he hasn't been able to be under the magic, confetti drop with holding a trophy in the air, he has that kind of experience. And we'll have to see what kind of formula he's going to be able to bring to the team like KaiP. It's going to be exciting to watch. It's my first chance to actually really watch KaiP. You said they played 6 games already, but I'll be honest with you, I missed all of them. So I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, most definitely, and obviously you got to imagine what he's bringing to the team behind the scenes, just contributing to draft random discussions. I mean, I've had plenty of very insightful discussions with Brian, so it's very exciting to see him getting so involved in such a position. But let's talk about these lanes. Let's look at this action. We're going to be seeing, again, the double Iron Shell play here, but doesn't have to really worry about the glimpse or anything early on, and in fact can punish mispositioning as Milan comes forward, looking for just one lucky bash, a little bit of body block. Can they get that bash? The Orb of Venom just to get that extra bit of harass and no kill potential, but either way, it is going to be Fluff to survive and thank RNG.
Yeah, if the bash was there and Fluff went down, it would have felt real bad giving him the caster curse on that start for sure, but he will be able to survive and back on out, but now they know the threat is there, and Spearbreaker is kind of on the prowl, and at any moment's notice, he can catch you with that flailing shot like that, and it ended up being a bash. Who knows where things could lead, so Fluff is going to have to be kind of postured in a pretty defensive position right now, and, Elements are going to feel confident kind of being the aggressors.
But we're going to be seeing this dual lane here of Bambo and 33. This is going to be Bambo in the off lane on this Nature's Prophet, which suits him pretty well. But with 33 behind him as a kind of pseudo-support Sand King, you're still going to be seeing that that Caustic really put pressure out. And it's going to be harder and harder for Ron to really push them back. At this point, he's going to take a very defensive stance. You already see he didn't go for the mana leak to zone because he knows that he has to fight. And that's going to be involving the Illuminate.
Yeah, Bambo always seems to be very good on these kind of micro-intensive heroes. His Broodmother and now his Furion. So he's not just a great karaoke player and dancer, man. He can really do a lot of work with the micromanagement. And Furion has been one of his more popular grabs, at least from what I've seen. So we'll make some use out of it now. Grabs an Arcane Rune, and we'll probably shift the position back towards this bottom lane to be there by the side of 33. 3-3 or 33?
That will be a question for the ages. I'll go with 33
Trace,
for now.
Trace.
But
Yeah. I'll go until he corrects me. Milan here, though, is continuing to be. Look how cheeky he is. He's just creeping and trying his best to be a pain in the ass. Try to go, and there's our answer. And Gus will cancel the charge.
That's what I thought. But all bash?
Okay, then RNG says it doesn't matter. I find a way. And Fluff does end up going down. Milan will lose his life shortly after, but he was out for a mission, and I guess it's mission accomplished.
Absolutely. Is able to claim that first blood nevertheless, and he'll just charge back to the lane so quickly once he has sight of a target, so it's not like he's even has to waste TPs. He's always going to be where he wants to be on the map, and that's going to be really strong. And also you got the Nature's Prophet to rotate, so you get your first blood, trading 1 for 1, and you get Bambo stuck top lane, which is great. Because, I mean, obviously he's not stuck, this is a very mobile hero, but this is time where he's kind of ganking and counter-ganking that he's not actually going to be on the map.
Or he's getting ganked, because he gets bopped in the face there. The Ion Shell damage burns on through. They got the surge. Are they going to get Bambo down? They certainly will. Okay, Elements Gaming comes to play, certainly in this top lane.
I think in that position you just go for the TP. There's a chance, obviously, at 70% in building that he will get the stun and you won't be able to TP away, but if that happens, you wash your hands of it. At least you did what you could. But we see there that despite him only having 2 auto attacks left in that time frame, that he didn't get the bash and he just got the kill because Bambo hesitated. So very unfortunate in that case. But obviously this is the strength of the Spearbreaker Darkseer, where they just get to go on their targets. And now suddenly Darkseer is level 4 with a Soul Ring. And they just keep this momentum rolling. Keep the Drow pressured under tower, and BO7 is not having the farming game he wants. And in fact, 33 is the one that's getting the most out of the bottom lane.
And it might just keep Milan up here, causing trouble. He begins a minor charge on the Fluff and will bump him back, but they are certainly being a nuisance to KaiP here. In the meantime, we haven't been able to really touch base with the mid lane matchup. Sing Sing on his OD, 18-5 to the Mirana of Gogi, also at 18. OD we typically find to be, a lane dominator. Bottom lane, though, as that happens, they're making a move for what looks like the life play. He's going to be able to make it back away, and the rotation comes in from Milan as he charges on forward for 3-3. Mentioned as best farmer, could be ending up losing his life here. It looks like he will. Tries to salve away the damage, creeping through the trees. He's good for now. Bambo helps block. He hides into a corner. Will the street closet be enough? No, he runs out, they spot him. Charges there, and the Sand King goes down.
Yeah, and they wanted to definitely secure that Sand King kill, but there's a chance they could have even gotten Nature's Prophet under tower with that charge, and Bambo will just slip away and heal back to full before using his teleportation spell to get back to the lane. But, yeah, just good movement across the board here. As far as this lane matchup, it's actually pretty interesting that Sing Sing goes for this build-up with the 3-0-2. Relying on RNG a bit himself, but also this bottle to sustain his mana and keep that in-steal going. Because if he can get a lot of intelligence steal, piece by piece he can do a lot. But in the meantime, Mitch actually should be the one to going down this time around.
Just snipe him right there at the end. The Darkseer, a little far out on his own. They know the Spirit Breaker is not going to be by his side. It looks like Bambo had made the rotation up there when it was available, and they punished him. Sing Sing will obviously let that guy go as he has no levels into the Astral, so witnesses the Spirit Breaker go by. But the point I was going to get into for the mid lane matchup is we typically know OD to be just such a powerhouse mid laner already. You put him up there with the ranks of like a Viper and a Razor and being able to win the one-on-one, but he's kind of matched up even against the Mirana. Is that a bit of a surprise, or is this Mirana or is Gogi that good? I don't know. I figured on paper it would be one where OD would just be miles ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just in general damage output, we've seen obviously G play the OD much better against that kind of matchup earlier and was able to focus on denies more than last hits against TA, which I think is even harder to lane against than a Mirana. I think it comes down to the skill build. He goes for this bottle pickup and he goes for the more aggressive Arcane Orb level 3, because if he just gets a couple of procs from the Essence Aura, he's able to use the bottle to just continuously steal intelligence and have an advantage. But if you don't get that luck and you don't get the runes to sustain your bottle, then you're actually at a disadvantage compared to the alternative skill build, which is more like a 1-1-4.
Yeah. We'll have to see what Sing looks to do to transition away from this laning phase.
I want to mention also, he had the Drought Aura as well, so...
Yeah.
Obviously, CS is fine, looking fine now, 37-18 over 27-3, but theoretically it could be even better, so... It's just one of those things, but Gogi still, I mean, he's going to be the one that gets more active in this game, so no matter what his term is, it might change his Aghanims timing later down the road, but right now he's at the same power level you'd expect.
Yep. Top lane. Lux tries to glimpse back the Spirit Breaker, but that will not stop Mitch from getting the job done. But here comes 33 with his first epicenter of the game. Will help Shrek right through that little Darkseer. Milan goes for the TP and will be able to make it out. No way to stop him on that one, and it turns into a 1-for-1 trade, one that does favor Kaipi a bit, taking on that off-lane Darkseer, but does cost him a bit of rotations for it.
Yeah. I'm really curious when Swift Ending decides to get involved with perhaps an Infest on the Spirit Breaker. You can do that as early as now, since he has the ultimate, but he's actually gone for an Iron Talon, so probably eats the mango, picks up the Talon, and you could farm camp so quickly here, because you're just able to kill them off with the Iron Talon, as well as like 2 or 3 right clicks and move on. And you can just take camp after camp. And
do you let the Coddle like take the lane then? This Coddle, because the Lifestealer is just kind of doing his own thing in the lane, look how farmed he is. I mean, he's got a lot of levels. He's almost level 6 at about 8 minutes in. I'd be happy if I was him.
Sure, definitely. So, and that would leave the Spirit Breaker to pick up the Tome of Knowledge and really find the level 6 timing that you're looking for as a support. The 10-minute level 6 is pretty standard for a Spirit Breaker, and the Tome enables that play really well.
Looks like mid lane. You call out for our potential first Infest bomb of the game, and it looks like it could be happening sooner than later. He hops up into the backpack of Milan right now, the Spirit Breaker, Moonlight Shadow, and away we go. A charge towards the mid lane right now. They're hoping to get hold of Sing Sing. He's already on the way back as he sees trouble coming. He gets the connection. There's going to be the bomb. Can't get a forgiving RNG bash, though, and it looks like they might have to quickly pull off here. Milan looks to head into the trees, into the corner, and now he's a bit stuck. Looks like he will be able to do his way on through, but he's still caught between some unforgiving Kaipi members, and they will be able to bring him back and bring him down. 4-4, we even things up.
Yep. They had an Observer Ward over by the Ancients, which gave a pretty good idea of what was happening there. They had not the immediate response, because that would have scared the Spirit Breaker away, but instead bait him further, deeper, and they were able to get the kill they want out of it. Obviously, like I said, it would have helped them a lot if they had gotten the bash, and then they could have opened wounds and at least gotten 1-for-1, or maybe 1-for-2. But in the end, Sing Sing live, and the Spirit Breaker will fall. Now charging back top lane again.
Alright, couple of Kaipi members here. So we'll see if Elements turn this around once the Spirit Breaker does show up. It looks like they will cancel it all together and take their business elsewhere as we just get into about the 10-minute mark of this one. Top two farmers still both belong to Kaipi on this one. As we see both the Drow and OD up at the top. It looks like they'll finally designate some time on Elements to maybe get some Milan farm. Well, I said that, but then here comes Gogi taking it right back over.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we do see what you're talking about. LeBron on the Keep of the Light, really just farming wave after wave. He's built himself up pretty nicely to the point that he's almost where Bambo is in terms of early farm. The Furion hasn't been really farm focused, the Coddle much more so than usual, so between the two of them, we're going to be seeing some better support pickups coming out from Elements, whereas, of course, Fluff and stuff is going to be playing that 4-man support. He will get his level 6, or at least level 5 now, thanks to his tome, but much more importantly, he needs to get some gold.
He might not be able to hold on to a lot. He gets taken down here. He goes down fast with the help of the Surge, and Iron Shell coming out quickly to bulldoze in a Lifestealer and take down that little Fluff support. And they're still confidently hanging forward here. We'll hop into the catapult.
Oh no, is this seriously happening? That's so cheesy.
They can't do anything to stop this poor little catapult too.
Well, they have the fear damage of the Arcane Aura, but you don't want to be using it on a catapult that you don't steal intelligence from. So it really just be run, but it's like a walking tank with this Iron Shell active, and it can be very annoying.
And Coddle's up here now, about to be level 7. So full push, ahoy here for Elements right now. And we'll have to see if Kaipi are going to do anything to be able to stop it down. They still have plenty of build-up time here. Bambo had been grinding away his own farm here at the bottom, getting to his own level 6, or level 7 rather. As his phase boots up and ready to go, but I don't know. Kaipi still lacking a little bit in kind of the firepower right now. And you have that draw lineup, so you're not looking to kind of hand away any sort of momentum. But it looks like they smoke, and they're going to take their business to the bottom. Maybe a hopeful pickup on the Darkseer, followed up with a +1 tower, if things go well here for Kaipi.
They're going to get the stun.
They do get the connection here for Mitch, and they silence him up here. Oh my, it will be enough. Thunderstrike helps maintain the vision, and they will be able to take him down, and it looks like they'll move in for the tier 1. All the meanwhile Elements will just kind of split the difference, go for their own push elsewhere. It looks like a mid-tier 1's in order for them.
Yeah, I like the Wrath of Nature split push too. It's going to slow down things on the mid lane or the top lane. They still will take that tier 1 tower down, but they can't really go for more than that. Swift Ending might get like 2 hits on the tower before he has to run back, and that's the nice thing about Age of Prophet is that no matter what, you can make sure at any point in time that all your lanes are pushed out the way you need to be. So when you need to push, you can take advantage of that Precision Aura and that Drow Ranger in full.
I mean, lots of ways for Kaipi to be able to quickly burst away the farm with the extra bonus damage and grind their farm potential back. We take an early look at the net worth, and it's still for Elements right now, but with Kaipi being able to add some extra pressure on these towers, it's going to force Elements back into a defensive position away from their happy farm grind.
It's ganking time. We got an Defense Bomb and a double damage on the Spirit Breaker, but can they get the glimpse back in time? They had one ward, see it in time, and they'll gust it back with the arrow missing as well.
BO7 almost walks into that arrow. Milan gets close enough. Does manage to get the Nether Strike off on the BO7. With the help of the burst, they won't be able to bring down the little Drow Ranger. They set course for Fluff. They get him 2. Big Effie flies forward from 3-3 and will help get at least 1 response kill, but it's only for the Spirit Breaker while they're about to lose Sting. He drops down the OD ulti, but it's not going to be nearly enough. Kaipi crumbling apart here. 33, one of the last survivors, is going to be going down there at the end. Bambo will be the only one to live on to tail the tale.
And the absurd thing is that could have been so much worse. The Fluff and Stuff Observer Ward here in the jungle was able to scout out that charge, was able to get the gust, and they even saw the arrow just in time. If those two spells connected, it would have just been like a either a 4 for 0 or a 5 for 0 outright. But they were able to disengage nicely from the charge, and still they lose so much in the process. They really didn't have the tools to deal with this Lifestealer yet, and I think a big part of that is that there's no Static Storm yet. If you get a kinetic static on a Lifestealer who hasn't popped Rage yet, you're golden. You will win that fight, but the problem is Fluff has just been underleveled. He's 1, 4, and 5, and while his wards are great, his Disruptor is just not ready for these kinds of fights.
Elements just kind of recognize where the momentum is and are happy to take the fights now. Looks like a tier 1 is in order for them. And finish it off there. Alright, there you go. Gogi will go back and get her done.
bottom tower
And
has fallen.
we'll get back into their own grind. Meanwhile, top lane Milan, we have a charge out here for Bambo. Nearby, we got Darks here there to assist. Nether Strike comes after the out, so he's all free and well. Vacuum pullback Gust comes in from Bone.
I can't believe it.
Helps create the space, and Bambo, thankful as ever, trying to run between the trees. Oh, he tries to chew his way on through, but eventually they will be able to make the catch-up play and get it done. But it looks like it could cost Milan's life here. He gets stunned up from the burrow, and between three, really doesn't have a whole lot of options here to make it away from trouble. And it looks like it will be 3-3 who does pick up the last hit. 10-7 now. Elman's still kind of dictating where the fights are and what they want to do.
Can I just tell the viewers that this is the worst possible time to put an aggressive observer ward? Somehow, by God's grace, it worked out. But he was under Moonlight Shadow, and they wanted to detect him. They're going to drop a sentry ward, and yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll just plop it down here. And it works out. They've got vision in that area despite his death, and it doesn't seem like Kaipi know about it. So, yeah, it's just one of those small things where it's like, yeah, you're feeding an observer ward, but it doesn't actually work out that way. Instead, it's going to be Fluff, who eats another death. This time he does have the ultimate, but it connects on absolutely nothing. And that is quite unfortunate. Gogi now gets smacked up, gets enough time to leap away. Just 1 second.
Not enough, and Milan's here and says, don't go any further as he makes his own advancement fight for Bone. 7 Bone, not going to be able to make it away. Blast comes forward, not going to be enough to
And the arrow!
It doesn't matter. Arrow connection on the sexy Bambo. And he is out there. 33. See you later, buddy. Looks like he'll be going down next as they do get chased. Mitch is going to be right on his tail and take him apart. Snake Sink forced to try and make it back inside. Forced to drop a hammer, but it lands onto his own foot. And he gets going as well. 4-for-1 trade. Elements on the up and up in game number 1.
Extremely great initiation from Elements. I mean, it was so close for Gogi to be just dropped outright, but he had a regen rune too, so he lives with that much HP, and then he's able to re-engage with full. And on top of that, some amazing armlet toggles coming out from Swift Ending, just showing why he's AK. It's just those small mechanical things where he can